Watena sekra da encham ne nsam no waboabo dodo na no ode ebran titiriu 2026 World Cup enra yabo awie awo America honsem pi awa yede edamo awo dwumadie no so and into Johnny Live said they can catch them no say you stream ye oh baby mienu first off oko Facebook insurance 4.5 FM and no Facebook oko na wa share dwumadie no e dia mame o share wi a ja message no ho gabe tram de yakwa am ne ba messages no ya ba kenkan e de amamo oko YouTuber me patcho honso no obebo Nhyira TV na on subscribe channel na patcho na wa subscribe wi na honso no waja on message in our brand tenase na ye the Monday edition of Nhyira digital passport dwumadie no and so at the Abraham Fisam Kaho, Nina Yabobo no at the Abraham na Enra Sadamedikai Akan 2026 Walk up by a cowboy our America. In fact, Amamiansa Anna almost Jumediano, America, Canada, and then Mexico. Na Endra and Jumedian Nano, and so a bar a year. Na you started Jumediano with 48 countries and now 48 teams, and I do more started here. Na enra di dwumadie ni nyina no e de ba na 2 and rem awo eye final na Spain against Argentina na game no call we no extra time goal Brent defense Ferran Torres osina kadema Barcelona nyan no eno amase say Spain omo agi omo a second World Cup after winning it awo 2010 awo South Africa. And also, something on your body, I walk a jumadie. So, third place game no, of one on Saturday, no boy England. Eshe Siama, France, Atikano, a 9, and in an own some hour ha. Spain, the Argentina, Tosumino, England, Etoso, a Yamiensa, and France, I know Bia to pay. Sir, on bit major walk up, no, Amo, and Etoso, a 9. Na, I was also, Nanyasam Kitokra, individual awards, no. Best player of the tournament, Ako Adema, Rodrigo Cascante, Abrante Adudona friend, Rodri, Onomi as the best player at the tournament, and a young player, Ako Adema, Pao Kobasi of Barcelona and in Spain, and a goalkeeper, no, Ako Adema, Unai Simons, or Nususinakai, at the Spain, you know, I come here and say the individual awards in India, and Spain for the Jinina, Golden Boot, you know. And a Kylian Mbappe at the 10 goals. And so a Gia Ninano, I cover na yabedi game no ho eye enkomo yi pa. Na hwede na ko eye de ma spende na nkoye amfama eye Argentina. And san komini nyina no yabedi awo eye dwumadie no so. Now for the second half of the show no, ye the about share the lessons I betimi asua. Ye betimi draw from the just ended World Cup no Ghana. In terms of a player development model and infrastructure. In fact, what goes into football, Bibiano, Yakoba, this particular tournament in the bedding common near the Lenke Ghana. And in some Piawaha in the Yakoba, na Abedi Sound Common and so etimi Eddie Amamo. Fena do a fide natua. In share from Sune Monday edition of Nhyira Digital Passports and Eddie Ebremo. Gabi Tram Gabi the foreigner. Atifo odian ko amanenia se dwumadi na se afi eye amanene Richard ni
Good morning, Gabi.
Na embom to say
Nyame adom bibia boko na wonso.
Oh, Nyame adom nso mo ye pa.
Saturday stars yes about.
Oh yes. And then so Nyame adi hu afofi one na den so ache.
Sanity.
Enti ya ba dey seja. Yedi nkomo kakra big game so e wo ho and anymre.
Of course.
As we hu ni bia a big game because a wet stage a game.
Yeah.
Enti na other say a 4 for a third place team or a big of 8 standard. So yedi nkomo kakra with a tina that game na eba so ne bia
final no
adani me bia de be count then yetimi awrum na
but Gabi what is it France for England for no person me bo 3 and 4 no
person me bo ha am na enkobo Omo prayer no mu kodu ana no mu fi said the end no mu prako. Because what do what they are?
What's up?
What's up?
But Uti Thomas Tuchel and somehow Odi Tudja, you can tell that the spirit is down.
The spirit in the bear down because
yeah.
And yet on target no.
Of course.
Once nipa unya high hopes. Na a down player. Aya na say one way ya one so kakra. And do be from si kum. And you be name say England and how the nature yes, I know problem. No.
You agree with me, say it happened to them similarly in 2018. Gary Southgate.
Yeah.
They went into that semi-final against Croatia. I said the first goal from a very spectacular free kick from Kieran Trippier. Then suddenly, match no Kosono. They considered 2 goals. One from Ivan Perisic and the other from Mario Mandzukic. So they were wondering, say, why has this thing repeated itself once more? Because look at the situation. Very nice goal from Anthony Gordon. 1-0. Now, Mama Argentina want to push him back to the wall. To the extent, say, they were not able to keep their composure. They lost concentration. And they were not able to.
Social media for Mumehemu phone and Fama Pamacho. Mumehemu phone and Fama. Social media for Mumehemu phone and Fama. Okay. Tesco Medase. Mohena Mumram.
Social media for phone, a person this time.
I person this time be a better boy. I say, Omudi Juba. Anna Aquaquia into Kwame Braba Hefama. Joe Young Cosuna in Nijuma.
England, no, they know it. That when they hired Thomas Tuchel, the expectation was that carry us to the final and manage to win the trophy for us. Because it's been 60 years. The last time England for winning World Cup was in 1966 when they hosted it themselves. And after a situation now, you say the Thomas Tuchel biaba. And Thomas Tuchel, the expectation is that look, you are a German coming to take over the English team. So carry us to the final, deliver the trophy for us, our second in 60 years. And we the way are now omupeno. And I think say omuchemu tanya third and fourth no omubebo against France. But if you want to talk about France kakra before I start no, I think Didier Deschamps will be very happy with what he has done.
Okay.
Gabi, to play back semi-finals of the FIFA World Cup 3 times in a row, it is not an easy thing. And Oshe Ejuma and Didier Deschamps are here on this team, right? With the young talent he had at his disposal. The way at 2018, that was where we saw Kylian Mbappe come onto the scene. Then through that, 2022, call final. When they were 2-0 down, they managed to climb back 2-2. Our game 3-3. They call penalties. Eventually, they lost that game. Then they came into this World Cup, all the way to the semi-final again. I think, say, as he's leaving the job, one of the biggest memories of Odibeja French national team, and they say he would have known and remembered all the things he has done in the past. And players Nankasano do appreciate him for what he has done. And so him, Zinedine Zidane and Ebabeji Ejumano. And I know that Zinedine Zidane, to him, the responsibility is that baby Didier Deschamps, any team na bedruno. The bar has been set very high into Unsuna was so pejem. So Gabi, nobody would expect France to go to the next World Cup in 2030 and not make the semi-final. Because baby Didier Deschamps the bar ne druno. And was so Zinedine Zidane, you have to raise the bar. So of course we live to see how that will turn out, because 2030 remember Sisia is just 4 years. And I can see a World Cup. 4 years about that. And another World Cup is over. And that is the end of an era for Didier Deschamps. All the Ejumane Eja Zinedine Zidane to continue. So we'll see how that pans out. But you better sound common in terms of tactics. France and England. No, Bagabi, the World Cup has come to its conclusion. And I think this has been one of the most enjoyable World Cups for me. Mr. Tisha World Cup, that was 2006. And Mekaisa World Cup, I have very fond memories of that World Cup. But if I compare all those World Cups from 2006 to 2010, 2014, Brazil, 2018, Russia, 22, Qatar, Munina, till now, Gabi, when I look at all of those World Cups and I compare to this World Cup, I think we have had a very, very good tournament. Of course, this is the first expanded version now. Now 48 teams and they participate. And we saw, or we have seen 102 games so far. 102 games, no result na my project on the screen this year. Right from the start, first game as South Africa and Mexico boy, Mexico, we need 2-0 South Africa for red card me. It looks like it was just yesterday, but Gabi, another World Cup is over. 102 games down, 2 more to go. Baku a bronze game, no? To see who wins the bronze, that's France and England. And we have started that discussion already. Then the big final, which is between Spain and Argentina. Gabi, to talk about this game, no, there are so many things that we can look at. So many perspectives that we have a game no from. And put it on the table. I think today, no, most of us would want to look at it from a very holistic perspective. We share 2 teams that I know. You can see that they are coached by 2 managers who have a very peculiar story. So, Lionel Scaloni, any Ejumana Wabeye as coach of Argentina now, you do realize that he has added something special to this team, even though they have a player like Lionel Messi, or X factor in that Argentina team. Gabi, when you look at Spain as well, Spain have a coach in Luis de la Fuente, who has also mastered the art of tactics and has become a coach in his own respecter, while building a team not to a certain level that everybody wants to admire. Gabi, when him say Luis de la Fuente, X-ray Lionel Scaloni adie, wabra omuye UEFA Pro license in 2017.
Oh, okay.
Luis de la Fuente was the instructor of that class, and that class was made up of Xabi Alonso, Scaloni himself. There was also Capdevila, former Spain player Capdevila, now also Kamubi, and there was also an Andoni Iraola assistant of Liverpool. And there was one thing now, Luis de la Fuente Ekaye, or say when you looked at all the participants in that UEFA Pro license class of 2017 now, Nipa or Sheno, Eshe say or yadie in the team building topic or chere or more was Lionel Scaloni. So Gabi, look at the Argentina team very well. There's one thing about Lionel Scaloni and how he coaches the team. He gives them the liberty to be a brotherhood on the pitch and off the pitch. It will be a move return or not a move bar. You will see Lionel Messi leading the team. And say players no call a hydration break, no move touchline now. You see the way they have conversation with Scaloni. It is so demonstrative of the fact, say, Scaloni as a coach, he allows the players to have a say. It's wadring is saying, wadring. Then both the player and the manager have a conversation, and they build that sort of friendship among themselves. So that was the observation of Luis de la Fuente. Gabi, omu pre-match conference, no. These were the words of Scaloni. Or say we have to thank the players. It's hard to explain what this group has done with words. We are going to try to win the final, but what these guys have already achieved is incredible. It's ojitum. Senka Oka say Argentina will do final in this tournament. Many would not have believed because no one 2022 dada. And in terms of back-to-back, winning the back-to-back or going to the back-to-back final in the World Cup, and then people will know me I don't know. So he can appreciate the fact that the players no. And on the day he will want to thank them because they have been able to demonstrate on the park. Say, when it comes to resilience and mentality, we also have it. She games some boy against Cape Verde, against Egypt, right? Against Switzerland, against England. There were times in these knockout stages they had to claw from the back to come and win the game. So you understand the mentality which he's talking about. Gabi Yebisa, Luis de la Fuente, same question about what he thought about the final. Honestly, I agree on many principles and ways of thinking. I believe we are not so much different. The match will be evenly matched and decided by details, but we must impose ourselves. Into Nusunim say, game here Koboi, the opponent you are coming to play against is an opponent that when you score him 1 or 2 goals, they don't give up. And you have no choice or no option than to impose yourself on the team that you are playing against on the day.
But game no any easy.
Kabi, me say when I look at these conversations already, it tells me the battle that is ahead for these two teams on the pitch tomorrow.
Game of a sort. What moment shoulders. As a omunini
of course.
In the Premier League, Alexis McAllister, Enzo Fernandez, in the middle for Argentina. Na waba benya Pedri, Fabien, and Nasser Rodri.
Then you look at Danny Omomo. And look at players like Pedri. The way they know themselves and how they're even gearing up towards the final.
As will be 50 years strong, very strong. Until then, will be weakness. Okay, so the bench
But Gabi, isn't it shocking? Say the two teams that are going to play the final at Echnano, that's Spain and Argentina, they met a certain Cape Verde in this tournament. And Sir Cape Verde, no, in those two games, demonstrated to us said they were not a mean opponent against these two teams. Obekai group stage, Cape Verde, Spain boy, that was the first game.
Yeah.
Oh, mo group no 0-0. And even after that game, no, I'm not for Bebe say now Spain they no muye. Oh my yet people so favorites no. Who share Cape Verde after no be on World Cup for the first time. No. So people were quite raising very funny comments. Spain no more sure. Look at what happened in that game between Cape Verde and Argentina. That game had to go into extra time before Cape Verde eventually conceded that goal, and that was the dagger that sent them back home. And it is one thing about this tournament. I've already said, look, this has been a very enjoyable tournament. Obi o tell me biano. Obeja to me say, World Cup we share World Cup we j because we be akra to nchen. Look at the goal scorers in this tournament. The top goal scorers: Harry Kane, Lionel Messi, right? Kylian Mbappe, all the big boys have showed up in this tournament. And I think that is what is making this particular World Cup one that we will forever remember. But Gabi, we cannot mention the story of this particular final without talking about the story of Lionel Messi and Lamine Yamal. Say, minim say, one saw picture now, I think who can want him already.
Yeah.
But unim said that man for baby say AI.
Yes, of course. Even including me at first.
And now you bisa Spain player Bakubi. That's Mikel Merino. And okay say no him say AI image, no him say real. Gabi, the story has it that in 2006, na UNICEF Foundation, United Nations International Children's Educational Fund for no. No almost Spain. They wanted to collaborate with Sport, magazine Spain, to be able to raise funds for UNICEF. What they did was that no, say Barcelona 4 players no. Say a binimo 8 pictures with the young children who were in Spain at the time. We had first one in 2006 no, a fire, and it was a big event. It's what your mother say in 2007 no. What they will do is that they will reduce the reach to just those who lived around Catalan area.
Okay.
It's UNICEF no. They did the same program in 2007, but they reduced the reach to Catalan for area no. They did a raffle they draw. They will select at random. Then when they select at random, who are your family now you select one who the wakola and aoba ebeba Camp Nou to come and take a picture with a random player. Gabi, in that 2007, the story has it that when they did the raffle, Lamine Yamal, ne mami, a friend Sheila Ibana, and then the papa a friend Munir Nazraoui, they won the raffle to come to Camp Nou, and they brought their young 3-month-old Lamine Yamal along with them. Then on that day, coincidentally, the person that they picked as the Barcelona player to take a picture with them was Lionel Messi. So Lionel Messi on that day walks into the away changing room, baby, I want a picture no, and went to sit with the small Lamine Yamal, 3-month-old Lamine Yamal.
6 or 3? 6.
A 6-month-old brother.
6, yeah.
6-month-old Lamine Yamal. And yes, Messi. On a colano any pictures. Gabi, I don't know how football manages to write certain scripts.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, who would have even thought, say, 19 years down the line, those pictures will become very relevant in the context of the FIFA World Cup final. Not the FIFA World Cup match, group stage, and now quarter final, and the final. After those pictures was taken on that day, Yebisa, nipa na otwa picture no Joan Monfort ono kura no nim say picture we dey say random picture ni metwa. But in the 2024 Euro final, we had the father of Lamine Yamal bring out those pictures. And Oka say, this is the beginning of something special. Because not Spain ako Euro final ni. And after the picture was taken in 2007, nobody thought say Inka they didn't bring it out anymore until it was brought out by Lamine Yamal Papa. And Omodeba say, even during that time when the picture was taken, look, Lamine Yamal and the family, they didn't have so much money. Now I say, oh, here we kakra. But look at what has happened throughout that period. And today, we are talking about this story, highlighting the relevance of the fact, say, in what world would we get the chances of, say, on that day, no, na a messy, na wasn't connect Aqualani Chapisa picture, no. Because Barcelona was made up of so many stars. Gabi, that time Thierry Henry was with Barcelona. That time Victor Valdez was with Barcelona. That time there was a Carlos Puyol who was the captain of Barcelona. What were the odds? Now if you put a Messi, what started say all first team during that time? What were the odds? Say we will get something like this. And I think this is why we love football. So maybe Samia, I don't know, play football, I don't know, we need football. Sometimes football will tell certain stories that some of us can never explain. And I think that this particular story of Lamine Yamal, Oya Kola, Messi, and any day grew 19 years ago, Eswaban Faso, and Yedi Komo. I think these are the reasons why we love football, and destiny is speaking for the two of them. On that, now saying Princeton, Eka Simbi and Afi so Eka Wasem say, on Sunday, what we are going to see is that we are going to see an official handing over ceremony of Messi to Lamine Yamal. So with the crown now, send me the boy.
Which I agree.
You agree, eh?
Yes.
I also
because I said near ma a surround around omumi, you know.
Yeah.
And nema nesa the eba. So you have a better way of say, oh, okay, sisi the boss and me filimo send you money, but this is the guy.
Yeah.
I think say the finance baby.
And that is the official and now, no, when you look at it from that conversation, you will struggle to say, okay, I want this one to win. I want. Basa for baby. I'll make us say, media baby could be a bit many beji.
Yes.
Lamine Yamal with you, Messi with you. Both of them are Barcelona legends, so to speak. So we'll be happy. But I agree when people say that tomorrow we are seeing a handing over ceremony. Whoever wins, Biano. At the end of the day, because of this story and because of how it has reoccurred. 19 years later, I said both of them will meet at this stage. No, I think it's destiny. It's not a coincidence. It will be a way coincidence there. I'm not sure. Say, but of course, after I know UNICEF one kasa edit post ebae, and they were speaking to the fact that the picture is real. It will UNICEF for post. I'll say yes, those photos are real. And I think at this point, people will look at the story and they'll be very, very, very impressed with the fact. Say, look, this is a miracle of destiny. That Messi and Lamine Yamal first meeting, no, and one Banfaso 19 years later. And I think, say, Charlie, this is something that all of us will look at and they will be very, very happy about after a China game, no. But Oshe Athletic 4 posting, so I'm gonna say honestly, that photo of us is crazy. That's Messi or Kasa. Also because well, that's life. I took a photo with him as a baby, and here we are facing each other off in the World Cup. It's Messi and Kasa. No, I think Obaje Kakra and know that no. There's
some link.
There's a link. There's a transfer of power. There's something special that connects the two of us.
Yeah.
And I think Echnano we'll see. But Gabi, another thing about Echna game, then they say we are going to see very interesting duels. I'm dwelling so much on the final because we'll see Lamine Yamal come against Tagliafico left her. We'll see that duel. We'll see Aymeric Laporte against Messi. In Fifi any Echiro because Lamine Yamal, because Lionel Messi no and one Casano or buy into this game with that full confidence to come and try and win the game. But of course, Ushe Spain, any Argentina, Makanwa Semdada, the way they've won their games in the quarterfinal, in the semi-final, we saw how Mikel Merino came from the bench to come and get those victories for Spain and Argentina. So their games are all behind. No afraid, no about set, and then they win the game. The actual game they actually very, very interesting. Now Gabi, Kukureya say omu win Sunday now be retire.
Makukureya.
Oja Chelsea ya call Real Madrid no. O say Echna. Spain we need match ni we are. There are two things you do. The first one is a tattoo Luis de la Fuente. Nenim atono as a tattoo on his body. Then the second thing is that he will retire from the national team because when he say we in 2024 or we need Euros inti opese after 2026 so we need World Cup now. He will just go and retire and he will be in peace. And I like the mentality of Lionel Messi for tomorrow's game. Gabi, when you look at Messi and all he has achieved, and in Yema wire in football, you can look at him and say that Messi in game need senka and but look at what he has said. I say once again, we have established ourselves among the top 2 teams in the world, and that proves that everything we have done is no fluke, and that nothing was handed to us. So Obekaya in this tournament, Nankasana for Bibriakasa Messi in Argentina, no, the referees are working for them to make sure we renew more matches, make sure we renew tournament, no. And even though I disagree to some extent, I think say Messi asama working. I can also agree with him. Usha omo matches on my boy. Look, coming from a goal down or 2 goals down to win a game, Gabi, any easy sao. It's not something that any team can do. And here a certain level of concentration and mental fortitude to be able to do that in that game. And I think that that's what Messi is talking about. Of course, Golden Ball, if Messi and Argentina win it, I think Messi will be the first player to win the Golden Ball 3 times. And I think that would be a very good achievement for Lionel Messi and for Argentina. Gabi, another thing, Messi, I hear in this tournament, and I'm on Messi because look, the guy has done a lot. And say Obama, you know, or Jai football Nesiwa. I think football on its own needs to even cry that Messi is leaving the game. And I think anything could happen. Obebo match where we beat me say worry tie, and that will be the end of Messi. We will not see Messi again. Instead, I'm on Messi pan. If Messi plays this final,
and you're coming na Edia Bumna Edia Dawo, and my main sauce here. Saturday and 4th and then I know that you we not as a wake up bet. And we says 4. Wake up bet. Ato kama 9 goals. Anna Epiemo. Yeah, the last time ABC here. And your friend for your woman in Germany. And here we are not as a game now. 9 goals. 1958 was a center. And Messina ABC game and another that France for England. As a Montenegro, Wamuzu Timuna and England, Wamuto Somiansa. And more than the other friend and so. And also Argentina and Spain. Yeah, we are 90 minutes will be anti-man. Anaja, Yako extra time. Extra time, no, Yamiadum, abandoned the other Ferran Torres. I didn't cover that. Wabedi Atraba could be 2 Admas Premano, and to Amuso at Argentina. Ebomo Cabako meant to be not as the champions, and no call at the more man in Spain. And the battle, wake up in the way I am Mexico, Canada, and after US of A. Yabowi and no man in the Spain. Anomate Eddie Eswomanso, and Ian Kobaka and pay Yakatri Ediamao. Na Marcos Lorente. And so Casa, one no air Spain, but I know the 2 years and Yamini. Adiabaka was in no air 1 year pa. Air Spain and take it and get no. Was who have Pablo Gavi, who have Blantabit is La Miyama, who have Pedro Gonzalez, now who have Aya Blanta, Jafrano Aya Pau Kubasia, Quabra Zinko Danko, no man's no. Oh, Sanka weka fana omuhu ni padom sano anka ebi omo be popo omo wase nkoda no bo na nada wo mo boy ne kwa omo fa so a wo mama spray manager weka up ne de wono maku lorente wono na ni ade ye pa spray manager no wo ma ya ade ye pa wo mo toa so a ebetumi abo attention fa nkoda no ene o ma bi anka bi ni anka be was attention ato omo betwe de enya sa na koye eno ye bo wie na FIFA fo cha sa ye wie na o pa dia golden air ball no Anko family on Messi, Kwabna Eko Edima Aya Rodrigo Cascante. That's it, the Chama Sabemba or Sabe Balandon who be able. Another FIFA at Rodrigo Cascante. Wano Anna Golden Pono Eko Edimano. Pau Kubase. Anna also winning best young air player. Unai Simons air goalkeeper. Wano na Golden Gloves no. Nensa eka anafe Netherlands mano wamonso no na chese ade se weka fair play team wamonso eko edimomo ana aja ure ma chese noda enkoda ne ye adwuma ye pa kwabena ye wie ya ayi diagoki ne kwadema no aya blanta de Kylian Mbappe na winim se Mbappe this year record Mbappe aye no enya some go to akwa yes why the first ever player at Ebano La Liga golden boot wade UEFA Champions League golden boot wade FIFA aye World Cup so golden boot and so wade e dey sini na so 10 goals ana Branton e wo so ye na kwabra nya no kwa every last year and as the last edition of the World Cup ebe there am say golden boot in there na test what yes say from 2006 no Miroslav Klose what did the 5 goals next year 2010 Thomas Muller 5 goals and now James Rodriguez one of the 6 goals and DG 2014 2018 Harry Kane at the 6 goals and now 2022 Mbappe did 8 goals 2026 kwabena watrem where they got 10 goals and Tania killing Mbappe or 10 no about goals to share power World Cup Abranton chance will be an answer I won't come back a cranny after World Cup here players and goals involvement also but about goals involvement goals I would say any assist to do away ya kikani na this year Mbappe and your 14 goals involvement Lionel Messi and your 12 goals involvement Jude Bellingham and your 8 goals involvement Osman Dembele and your 8 goals involvement Kane enya 7 and Aaron Holland one also enya 7 goals involvement and near World Cup no enkomo kakra efiri mu edi ebanie say World Cup in the body must play full kwabena 8 players and now that we mu na asala no na awasema wo mu 8 players ni mu yese wo mu players no wo mo maka nyina dodo ne start ana meboa kono sa na enuminsia enso nwatwe 8 players Edma Barcelona Abranta de Lami Yama Pedro ya can say Pedro Gonzalez Ana Ferran Torres Ana Yawo Pablo Gavi Unai Simons Ave Danico V Omo Ere Garcia Ana Pao Kubasi Gwabna another Spain team na no na Barca team omu nyina try na nim say emu 5 players omo start game wo mo po Jama Pablo Gavi ene Ere Garcia ankwa na ase o man header anya dodo ambo dodo na ka nyina wo mu nya bi poe na ja Chelsea akukọ bi die ya ton na wo command di makukura ya eba be ka se yewie na chese Spain voage e de so me na so head coach no wo be do ni mfoyin kakra e de ato ne honam ana no a yewie de bi sanse na ano no ubenya ya na wo sanka so be retire e sanse wo so wa the Champions League ave Euros anu nso say na ene ema nyina akoye de ama ane ade afezu hema da bi usu waji Euros ana afi ayi ya kan say World Cup nso ade kwabena oso otwe ne bibia ase de hia ayesa nkru a wanya ade de he de aka bia de head anye na ayi bi nto be retire another na nsentofo bi cha no so okofie na okofie afi na okwakwadu no baby aso de tattoo na de to bet opaso de to baby eye visible a wo bi ehu na no wo se Louis de la Fonte ana eda aye ne body no ani enkoba kakwa so abanta de tutwa e wo dwumadi so yewe ne kwa Argentina ana head coach and the Lionel Scaloni ye ko bi sanse obeyi we ne de nyamba nkugo na aba na ni obeye nde no so ebu na de ade na ya de na me waka so Spain for mu ni mbobo nkuda ne yade ene ma me mo ma ba so ma yade pa me players no so mo bo aduma wo ma cha so mo ade ne ya ne ayo baby e be so na eja ye nya du no no Lionel Scaloni Argentina head coach no ani e bi sanse ya tete se wunya wo beko na sisia no future te say awo na so te mu be contract say na no so ye nya abotere empempe ne contract no somewhere December ana beba na wie opeso he akopim se ne contract ni December na beba na wie anso no decision bia wonu obetake watimi atake ani enkoba kakra so Lionel Scaloni adi tudwa wotumadi so ani ebisa so pana yewe not park ni suzu ani Messi na sui some de aja munya nka Ronaldo nkwa na tem ya yensu ene na tase Ronaldo na ni wuntinti nyina so de anu afi kwabna Sataman suyo ani ebisa Lionel Scaloni no so Lionel Scaloni si yanka mo bia ntia se dia Messi ayen wazu ntimi mo Messi untimi nka hwe dia be so bebo Messi abaso eza se football dia Lionel Messi dia maye e wo wi ase anya asem goto akọ de na ni ante dia ma branch de pa na impo ekoba esa branch no ball no o mo bia ma wo live as a greatest player ever atase wi ase nyina anya no o football mo ani enkoba kakwan so a ene opanyin ade tudwa na ubaka World Cup ne better ase no ye ka to America man paying to no Trump say o man bia wo beji trophy no anaso beje World Cup no woni omo ebegyina podium no so na fe wo matibi celebrate tese ne World Cup no ni Chelsea epeje nkuru an bebepe kwabena za bebepe no ye na we de say aman to aman and the time ko tenche won ba bi kura say ya ne se kwa ka tese opa na we de ya we de wan sa de trophy na benyo de abiemu ana tese opa na ko bo nten Chelsea de no gina fifi de and to Spain wo mu pedo mo trophy no wo panya ni Donald Trump America man penyin tese o tenchempe se ne be ya ebetimi aboy because eno ene de o mo de sase before the World Cup and so ba start na Nico Williams sa wono adi ne medal pepepe otutu nania no hu se sa ne maame ne papa ne gina na ne wo firi odum tete no okoye na tese ne medal no oyidi ma ne maame se onfantu no komeja de obeya no aye no enti mu amadwa ne squeeze no so de mu benya aye Nico Williams aja wono so ne maame aye ne mama tese eno so atimabwa wase no ye dia oye na no so atimabwa eno obeha ne maame ani agiye pa in fact football we na ma football aye kama pawe anadi ani jeba football mu enkakasa wo ba ebo World Cup na wa win no wadi trophy na wadi medals e de ba betu kom wutimi se ni je ni different kwa no dia eno so toja na World Cup 2026 chapter 1 me pato na Messi so ye eno a de esi ni ebia me ka mo ka se beboa abade fatu so tamani Messi ne su na nya sempa nya ni bra kwabra dia Messi wa ye ni wo wiase we su be ne wom anka we se nka wo faase no ne wona nanom wo ma di trophy anka we tire di nanka wo ma pa okubase mo ana Lami Yama ne Nico Williams mo mani ade be papa na esu ade wa ne sanka opelas wa na ade ana yesi nan ne man kada yes se pass e be mo ade se na da kwabra yesi Ronaldo he yo wa ka ne ya to so ana tese ne ni abre de no ha de abeko entimi ami imade a me akwa me ne nanka Spain di mo maybe am bono and now some good 20 no we are now the line up no so the ato the my anti Lionel Messi no and another na chese esuahini no went to be and the ahani pa na Luis de la Fuente and head coach Edema Spain man no one so kasa was in the mountain no na nia die pa na ni the visina at that team no so kwa ma first o ma improve am o mani so ade hunu nyira atibabam was team no wamedi fi baby na eba do mesi atu aboabo team no amati si team no atiba kodanim no wasi oye emotion right now wonya kranko besu beteja oye ne hwenye so oboa amati na niam so koye edmomo Rodrigo Cascante sit na niaje very sensational edma team no say at this moment World Cup no wamunsu etumi ade ne yankoba kakwan so a etoja na Ferranto we say mo am criticize no kwabena won na ya ade nkwa no but at the same thing akoda de what is said na nia de pa say di pam pim nyina atase wo mu Spain ehun say esi no Spain man no at the World Cup e de shop na so ene de advantage wode ma e wodwumade so ana Lami Yama se yanka mo bi antase say Cristiano Ronaldo be wa kwabena wo sa banto no okra oro so ben won pa na be say hey nipa na ba say wa na akwan be sem flama na sesa utimi zampa nipa ben wiye pa ene ye dia Lami Yama so e de tuja e wo dwumade so see ye player no Morgan Rogers okoye no medicals no anopeya Morgan Rogers ekoye the medicals no enso e dia Chelsea boboko no eno ye dia etodwa e wo dwumade so abusia ye disia na fi World Cup nkobo no e dos ye pa yetimi edi nkomo beta yenda ye sponsors ni nyina ase wo mo boa ye eso ya sene ema ye the World Cup commentary no ade ba nyina ye damu nyina se in fact mo boa ye papa ma ye duma ye sase emantego ni ana yesase mabwa matese bibia atimi ayakama ma World Cup no yetimi awie na sunjenti kwabra ye sponsors nyina yende obibia se na yenda yetiefo ni nyina so ase ye ko ye jimo ye best studios na ye ko ye kan say ECOWAS pap ni nyina no supporters ne ebae ama ye listeners no ombebwa ma ade no so ye kama enti ye listeners ni nyina no World Cup ye damasi pa ma ye adwuma ye damu nyina ase kwabra bibia ni wode a ene ma memfa me ne mansi he na muntimi ntoaso
sure I'm say dan dia no tumbi especially with our sponsors. And easy so be funny sika. Na or the abetai wachi ebra we be saying you know. First off, yen sponsors ye don't masipa nyame sure na de can say ni ntia omo eba on board no nyankopon mo nyani na whatever mileage bia also nya bia na nyankopon emwa na omo entimi enya. Then secondly as you more Nhyira ayesa mention so no course do si GM first so no na enya asem keto akra nti ono so no e beda na se ene yetiefo nyina so no yedamu nyina mas. In fact mu nyina mo ka ho bi enama aye work up no and so etimi aye that colorful nti nyame shamo edamase pa nyame shamo ene adefefa amaye and so edi amen. All right, yeah bana fe yenya abotire pa be di work up no mu enkomo organization from day one at the pem enra your ball final no and so we na ye bedi eye enkomo no pi at your free work up no and so emu to join your live our YouTube and Short TV. YouTube in Short TV. Samsung ako Facebook in Short 104.5 FM or share na one like and what message no abo ho. Ya bana fe messages amadia bani na no ya kenkan edi amame bra Spain after 2026 World Cup no maje and so edi esuamana. So this is the second time amaje World Cup no 16 years ago I was South Africa 2010 amaje this yomana so ebra Andres Iniesta Barca player na shey Emma omo eje Samsung enra the same Barcelona player Ferran Torres and so Shadema Spain unbeaten. In fact Spain from day one akopim the final game no omo unbeaten only one goal per and almost no etimi a consider against a Belgium in the Hunsamo ha ebedi sound command in the nano our age medias but Messobia na okoko dware shaja obia ho amati nyema bia gu eye o skin no mu so ho ama o kala first pa obi en was create na baba wayi o kala f pa se ni nyina ekwa me pa cho emuhu ate korokoto eye camel natural selection shaja me pa cho bibia eye camel na natural yes artificial bia ni bibia natural anitini o di dware a ema wonya won natural color oye kokko oye tuntum kama na ban 6 flavors etiefo e champapa na efira huro so eno tutobia ebetimi aboawie pa ama skin no enso etimi ayefe eye kindare investment amana de free Europe abrochimem ade abagana o mobile so FD ajatum se owuram o cosmetic shop bia na okotosem na adware a mano enye camel natural selection charger eba in 6 flavors dia wa opebia no to ba me den kama tufo se wo to ni nyina bi to bia bi na afifa frafra se na bia wo de coffee on family ni na no we betime enjoy 0243 744 855 ano eye number betimi afre na onso etimi adwode kama pa me ka say awo eye dwaso Jumia Ghana me pacho download the app CCA awo eye phone so na Jumia no in fact bibia pesa utobia bibia say your mobile phone entire mpaboa in fact bibia campo na opato bibia pesa oton online bia no oko eye Jumia Ghana obetimi enso nya bi abo ho na o place order no na onsa enso etimi akana kama onso apesa woton enamaka se kane na afi na wo kwoje store na akopra mesiesi hodi ene de baabi a obia no obetimi ayo business enso awo online te no say oba download the Jumia app no awo phone no so obasa woton a obetimi aton obasa woton a onso obetimi aton enti they come for Jumia Ghana app no download CCA Serbia so bibia be kama enso etimi edi amount Amanse Community Bank PLC etie for bank bia me come for the amount bia otie dwumadie ena anopen na me respect for this bank I was through to the stand say etie for okwa 40 years nie ena amsha se so omo ye adwuma we ko bi ono ma anka odu sa bese no ketim de kakra bi so na enso okwa se dom si bu adwuma esi bejeje so oh nyamie no kwene omo customer care de top notch and you know Rem our Amansia Community Bank PLC could be account to her savings account, current account, susu account, and a fixed deposit account. And we'll be able to me a BA. Now, when you say, Kim, Uhiasika, oh, only problem cry. And within 24 hours, now, ya be kama. And so, at me at the amount. Now, at you for the attorney say, Yambesiano, the amount are unique in India. On Sabesiano, dear, Sikabotini, your problem. But interest no. Aha, ensi hono ena na asem ni na ewo eno so na manse eye unique abo ho me pa cho omo no de nyamianim o hwe omo interest rate no na de compare omo competitors a utumi so omo de ne de awo fom pa enti kwaje besia eye na ba fie asore in fact mu yekuo ena mu pesika koye adwuma me se wo de wo pesika nko ade a ko amanse ho na omuntimi emo aba ne digital banking so a ye bi ATM card na no ye be ma obi ye branches no bebre head office na nkasa de anto krom na wo manso kwanta manso dubia akokare me patro be kwai na wo abetimi akọ Kumasi anso Roman Hill Ahonjo Atenga Junction Santase Sofuline asem honi na no eyadia amanse ewo ho me patro from I was 0247 200013 eno eye number obetimi no mo edin komo no sisi Amuzu hair food no odwaso na Amuzu hair food no me patro oyo obi a wutie me titiru ema no ebia nansem bi ukoto nku bi de twuti after say twuti no abubu tinwi nyina chese utinwi no half ko ama se say one kra no uro tinwi so ana ofere me patro eno an say ukoto eye Amuzu hair food na onso timi de bia sasa utim utinwi no ebefu kama na mu aye duso ho na he fe utinwi no abubu nyina me patro fa bi fifa ho embema no so onya bi now the south trima e ma utinwi aye fe waves ba utinwi so e ma utinwi aye black onso a me patro ehua so ehua ya ade bi e ba utrima anytime bia age se onam baby ana do nsai ni ade na ade dwutrim me patro ni na ha adwen onya aye Amuzu hair food a ebe jai na onso no bibia aye kama edi ama kama pa me patro ye kira kwan awo Amuzu Junction opesa otododo na utu koton a ye wotafu inshae so Amuzu Junction unsabetimi akabi sanso ana room awo cosmetic shop bia also pe Amuzu hair food 0242 955-056 Dr. Amuzu Adama ena odi aba eyedwaso adwumakuo kese bi pa omopama de mema niema e Kumasi a epewo eno aye adwumanti se wutie me na odima de pampa de obu ha opama de to ha se ehome so tu sa de na fa kasa onya abote dwudwi style me patcho mo safo no ena ye pemo na ye nemu aye adwuma ketua ne ye ifa salary no wa kra wote bi kra ebe shock so aha omutua kaye pa ena o me hwe so kama uye no so firi wa bia opeso okosua adwuma no so a eno so mbejewo eno kra sei yesa kra ma alawa so se na ba betimi de atwitwa ho eno tu ani jewo so opesa ne adwuma koi edi enkomona mo no mo ye adwuma omo okuma se heya tech police station around ho from na ono mo eni nkomo 0549 528402 0549 528402 na mo no mo eni eye enkomo Electroland me patcho World Cup no ya boy wie de na so promotion no so na orokodo so ho ha because World Cup e feeling no ye film kra eni tie sebra na abeto flat screen TV a smart so ho na also fine enjoy home because of say a picture quality and an sound no crowd the for about Jonesa your Samsung your TCL and your Nasco now him say ukra as low as 699 eguru 700 cedis so into there wa imagine say ukra 700 cedis a utimi the top flat screen TV about down na nemre pa say the TV sia fui ne baba dem pa krache uti wa say media call repairs abba repair oh matter and the TV afo and the TV na say first baby na discard so na akoto foforo awo aye electoral and say ukura 700 cities a obenya flat screen TV ani efe na ne picture quality and so awo so na fe asanye smart na ode abo aye odem na bibia kama adiama we nyina echi no yesan aye achede kese Rafa Auto TV ni wiana home appliances on yema bia beto bia no make sure so obajo coupon no afele ne kama nyame ya adoma ye draw na wudi epiema and so achede kese na electoral ebetimi ade acho in fact nationwide Ghana have bia your showroom abo Obakumase for instance utrenche from kakre bia in fact omoboy humpo otra ayebu nso fu yomo ya hwa ne electoral no wura na wo so no wetimi ene omo adidwa 0503 159 739 anu ye number abetimi afreti yi na mnomo edi nkomo maka to se computer adusua no he said de ho abehia so hanti no ebia na book de otepa bu a ene book ye de to a we no atwa ne kama but about computer sa box no on take make am for eye Union Practical Institute ene diama na no pay say ko ho na computer no de woni mu ho hwe kra kwani enkyerɛw obi nso ono ma wosua ho ade kakabat enkyɛ da nya pi kra obasa wo ya top up ene nso no ye beboa no atimi aye top up ene ntino awofo amutie me moma na awie JHS ene SHS ni nyina no mepam kyɛw momo ntire fi titiriw e ma no ahwe a ɔkyena ne result mra no na bema bi enso ama no afa enyinsen ahwa no ɔkyena school no na wantimi anko ko register no abo uniat omo fees no ne boa fo papa kona ono nso no entimi enkosua computer ho nimdeɛ mo so ampasa mo top up no your courses bebre network and cyber security engineering computer basics and office administration data analytics design technology drone piloting Samsung abana artificial intelligence AI mastery and afi course bebre and a uniat ye abo ho na practical na ne asokwa hono ba practical so entu be wie no na wa bre computer dusuam entu ko ba bia na esa won so no yetimi afaw adwuma yenso ye kira kwan Kumase heya ye Kumase sesanso si bus stop wa o si bus stop wa frɛ number 0555 383848 ani a number abetimi no mo edi nkoma the new Bigo energy drink me patro anytime bia obo sa afedia wa bre chesa wojo ho ba bia enkoyi no eno an so ba resort to the new Bigo energy drink cafe nkitu abi ene wom ene nti onoma enkofa problem bia emfa ema na ho de sonko a edema wo na tiefo me se wa wadwuma de pa no wo de me no ko challenge anytime bia bo se afedia wo te bre e woni paduane me no eno an se obeto the new Bigo energy drink nti o friend your tongue energy drink na kache no esese se omawo Bigo energy drink no na onso bobo finally na yam started discussions no na P phones and accessories me pacho ye de promotion bebre ye de kosa kopem se afuwe enso beba na wiye na etiefo de etene se ye promotions na ye first off ye ton mobile phones and na home appliances no TV fridge air condition microwave washing machine ene sa nyama na yisu ofie no ayo nindina ye tobi awe na kache na ye promotion na ye ene se oto ade a ni acho ade fufuro entu ebi auto TV ujuna ni acho iron water fridge ujuna ni acho microwave chese enema pi ana ye che awo ha ya san atete eye bo no so enti oto ade a na ya cho ade ne number 1 number 2 ene se ye mobile phones e bia na open Samsung phone ena ekuta na so ko anu sika na enso ye be ma okwan na otua half ni ato Ghana card na half na aka no ya ma payment plan so na 3 months to 12 months o de atuatua na kakra na o do phone enso ko so ti bibia ehye kama ni nyina echi no ya tete eniama nyina so ya be so bia enso timi tobi titiru ene air condition ya be so bia timi tobi ane washing machine na onso timi ade eko efie enti ho de in fact promotion no bebre o de wan kasa wura ho na oto ade promotion e woni na no amu ebechirechim na onso no won said de honsam no enso AC eko amu su Kumase baby miensa adum na obenya omo first one opposite acid house Kesmin Honan yo ho obi baje ke building opposite Prudential Bank yɛ hɔ ɛna Nana Kwesi Agyeman building nim hɔ nso ɛyɛ ade a yɛ hɔ nkranfo mo Komadina Zongo Junction Tamale deɛ ɛyɛ Aboabo station 0533093422 ɔmo ɛna asɔ ɛna sena yɛde dwumadie no ɛnso ɛde ɛbɛn mo Monday edition of Nhyira Digital Power Sports. Joshua Holutu, good morning.
Rich morning.
I want to say
Nyamia don't be able to announce it.
Nyamigu shine. She a cho.
7 days.
Maybe be an so you are no simachi. You are very fine.
I think say at this point no. You are back for the meantime.
And you are back for good. Josh.
Rich.
Yenshey, say World Cup in your baby.
Yeah.
You had it started with 48 teams. Edna, your son is Ebabe drew the final 2.
Yeah.
Ebeka Spain. Edna Argentina. But in the name no, World Cup in na Spain. Edna Ajidisio Omo Onaswa. Omo a day a World Cup no and so echo a efie. Individual awards on the day, of course, in no. Everybana yababi di a home come. Then the game itself. Yeah. So, Auntie, Yanka any organization in the Nana and Famum. So, organization from the one, the opening ceremony, in terms of air security, because of name said this particular worker, because of now America involved in na security issues, na a two higher. I mean, then one and obia. Can want some couple with conspiracy cheers outdoor.
Yeah.
ITSO FIFA person na Argentina. Then the message World Cup no. I didn't say me bring in no. World Cup na ba anyway yet. From organization Spain LG and BBI yen kan na mum na mention say free ho.
Yeah, Rich Bedasi na me de akonya we ebechia yetifo.
Okay.
Na mama obia good morning. I think say we've had a very, very impressive tournament. And I made sure final now more awards. No, I was looking at Gianni Infantino very carefully, FIFA president, and I could see near Japan. Aside the fact say in organization, they've been able to organize a successful tournament for the very first time. Countries miensa a hosted tournament. No, he would have also looked at the profit aspect as well and said, say FIFA omenyesi kapa from this particular tournament. Rich. The numbers, the person me go into detail are ABNA and sorry show so. But in terms of profit, look, FIFA has cashed out from this tournament. And I don't know, na me share reports be journalists for be echo streets and so na no bisa. The football fans or mobile tournaments, ebe share tournaments, be the various games. And we some say averagely how much have they spent on coming for the World Cup? Ebi obviously free Japan or support Japan national team or free Japan buy no. How much did they spend in total? Rich, could you believe say a couple of people were even mentioning said they've spent close to $20,000 at that point? And now mubisa $20,000, and that could be even a single person. We free no mind about US, Canada, and it makes it say all beshe matches keke. One person, and you can tell say. What that does is that it's not only about say we're through playing and we're finna mind about World Cup so be, but no, they are contributing to the economy of the United States of America, Canada, and as well as Mexico. And FIFA will get their share in terms of the ticket prices. They will get their share in terms of whatever happens at the stadium, but contribution to the economy, say hotels, any hospitality sector. Even all the tourist attractions, benefit. So not only FIFA benefited in terms of profit, but the countries that hosted the tournament,
especially America,
well. Of course.
Now, I don't know, and so the official appearance of the president of the land, Donald Trump, as old to Mr. Papano, and Hankasa. Go can amount for pumping into the economy now.
It is super impressive, of course, and. I understand the conspiracies and then the controversies. It will always be there, Rich. And some of them, no, I think it's and be brave about abontiama yati in but when you look at even Donald Trump and the fact that in hosting this tournament, he was really being very cautious. So the World Cup task force, no, he himself was in charge of that task force, and it tells you, say, everything that had to do with the World Cup, he wanted to be involved, which is why Gianni Infantino Nankasano, he always made sure, say, he was going to the White House to give Donald Trump updates about this World Cup. And I think, say, in terms of organization, they have done really, really, really well. Oshe Stadia, Omodi hosted tournaments, no, look at the historic Azteca coming back into the question, being the very first stadium to host 3 different World Cups. I think it has been a very, very historic World Cup. But Rich, you would also bear witness with me that this particular World Cup, in terms of the fact that it was the very first expanded World Cup after France 98, you also agree that it has been very well organized. Teams are participating here. The last time that the World Cup was expanded from 28 to 32 teams was in France 98. And since then, we had not seen any other expansion until now. Ayenya 48 teams participating in 3 different countries. The expansion was not just about the countries. It was also about the reach in terms of the host nations and those who are going to, be in charge of the tournament. Ushe groupings, no? Ushe the way the respective teams played in this tournament. Rich, I don't think we have seen so many surprises. And the way yenum be a call say we would see Spain in the final, we will see France in the semi-final, we will see England make it all the way. We have been able to see those things play out. Additionally, we have seen Lionel Messi, Obaye, he came to the party, scoring so many goals, Kylian Mbappe and Sosa. So you can say that in terms of progress, we have made a lot of progress with this particular tournament, because it's not just about the countries that hosted, it's not just about the teams that participated, but Obia na yadrin say World Cup, they did their part, they played very instrumental roles in this particular World Cup. Rich, another thing I think I will highlight is the fact that at this particular World Cup, the Spanish national team, Mamenka Spanish national team, I think they have really done so well. When you look at the fact that the last time Spain won the World Cup in 2010, they had come off the back of winning the Euros in 2008. And after they won it in 2010, they went on to win the Euros in 2012. And they managed to do so well at that time, during that era, and they really established themselves. But a free time, no, their team began to go through a certain kind of restructuring. And so restructuring, no, Utimu said during that period, Omu go through very, very tough times. Until 2014, in 2018, the same thing. In 2022 as well, they were knocked out by Morocco in the round of 16. But during that time, what they were doing was that they were rebuilding their juvenile sports, their juvenile football system, and making sure that all the players who were growing through that rank build you for the future. And as at now, no, during that period that they saw their football decline to a certain level, now they have been able to reap the benefits of those years that they went through very difficult times, but make sure that they build their juvenile system. Rich, what that tells me is that anytime we talk about football development, you cannot take juvenile football out of it. And so Ushe Spain, any idea you can even go and talk about Luis de la Fuente, the coach himself, and me go into detail. But what I'm trying to say is that when you look at how successful nations participate in the FIFA World Cup and win it, they don't just do it and win it by mistake. It's not just by mistake. They go through a system, they go through a process, and they manage to make sure, say, going through that system and going through that process, it better take you more time, and they build it successfully and successively. And I think that is what Spain has done. It is always Spain and ball in the final, dominating Argentina to that maximum level. Look, it is not just by mistake. And I think, say, one of the things I will say in addition, and they say, those landmark performances that these teams are making, no, I will say, as Ghana and as African, I will say it me should be near the 2 year home, near to me model, no, and also implement it over here. In fact, these systems are not new to Ghana. Rich, in the past, all the times that Ghana has been successful at the world level, it is because we managed to groom the young ones through a system, and they became successful at the highest level. Yajai, we have stopped.
Sir.
No, but Rich, you would also agree with me that the last time we saw a semblance of that was in 2009-2010,
the J or Egypt.
Egypt, no, yeah. You understand the under 20.
That's a team, no. Players no do na about Black Stars.
Good.
But
no, but you see, that is the time where we saw the Black Stars go to the highest level. At least we made it to the AFCON final in 2010 and went to the quarter-final of the FIFA World Cup. And some players, no, a chunk of them came from the under-20 squad of Egypt 2009 winning trophy, no. And even that, Rich, you would also agree that in 2007 under-17 FIFA World Cup, a couple of those players made it to the under-20 in 2009, and then a chunk of them made it into the senior national team.
It's fortunate, and players are normal yard there. The lives of Adiya and for the same. Yankasa di there you know Rabiu no money. Kukwajimo. Ebia, Satam ye fortunate. And nya sa generation nya players are normal yard there. It's me push on more Black Stars no. A yard there the mine. Ebia going forward no. The under 17s, the under 20s at the youth level nanke news and go make me about Black Stars no. Ebia ya fortunate. Ya sa players in be.
But the thing is that the truth is that you ain't mean Jaisa model.
Of course, I know that.
Because in the long run, you will reap the benefit. And that is the most important thing. When you understand that whatever you are building, they will get to a point where you will reap the benefits. You will not neglect it.
Showbit is a Paukubasi.
Good.
17
years old boy.
Obobo World Cup, man first. Na Spain pa. Okobo World Cup.
Yeah.
Why na Kobo Ejo say a certain Kubasi? I was 17 years.
Yeah.
And then you are for the ball fan.
You get it.
Or the Spain about World Cup unbeaten.
Considering only one
goal against Belgium.
And when you look at
tells you something. Show the young players on room.
Yeah.
That this Spain team, Charlie, is super.
And they've gone through the ranks, and that is what I'm saying. Say, you can look at it from a certain level. Even Luis de la Fuente himself, a coach who has gone through the ranks, coached their juvenile teams. Under 17, under 23, and has taken the senior national team or do more year wonders. So look, Rich, when you look at the tournament itself, it's been a success story. Okay. And when I look at it from the angle of say Spain, first match Cape Verde boy, there were so many backlashes after that game. Yes, Lamine Yamal, he's not fit. Free bench can be that game, no, and because of how compact and resolute Cape Verde were on that day, you saw how they played against Spain. But right after that game, I think Luis de la Fuente himself looked at his team and decided to activate certain things. If you remember in 2024 Euro final, England boy, there was a certain strategy or implementing in that game, and he got that winning goal from Nico Williams. And Saturday, say Luis de la Fuente himself, he knows the boys. Ushe players are on your mobile in the Spain national team now. On your mobile for a very long time, and he has gone to the juvenile ranks with them. Onimomu through and through. They are not players that you went to call from one country. Say Midowaba, Branabebo national team, Wesu free Finland, or about Obebo. No, they are players who had gone through the system, gone through the ranks into Onimomu inside out. Into a Tony Dino. He was able to look at the players. He was able to tell them what they were supposed to do. He was able to find a way to get the winning mentality into the boys. And you saw how he moved from the group stage to round of 16, through quarter-final, to semi-final, and to the final. And now, dominating match, every game. So I think kudos to Spain, and I think the World Cup has been a very successful one. Okay. I know Joshua Holutu, and I'm attending insurance 4.5 World Cup, and a ban Americano. I want discussing, and awo eye jumadie no esuntu so betimi adwone yen na ode eye message no aba World Cup na ba na wie Spain na agi adisi eye ne na so Jude owusu bafo. Good morning bro. Now what you saying?
Oh nyame adom pai bo minu na wonso
nyame adom me ho ye ba
very sweet and open
me da say
sweet ne fata.
I think that Spain actually say World Cup na kasa no meje. Because me kind time Spain a ball Air France. Every amount for native France it when amount for ye the day and on ya there's almost that nyade. I'm catching amount for say look. And yes France team ni na nyade. And Spain team no come first bobo no. There's no real between no bobo no that. And Enra a whole Argentina even shot on target. Now hold in the moment.
Almost 117 minutes and sana Messi block shot no so. Now, Rich Medase, what the room? Rich, anɔpɛ mi nim sɛ World Cup no nkɔmɔ deɛ ɛnyɛ ne nkwa ne ebi ti.
Sure, kakra na ne.
Nneɛma bebree ni ayɛ afa ho, and ɛbɛ take a matter of time ansa na certainly yɛtumi adi nkɔmɔ no awie. Nti yɛn de kan so so ho kakra as time goes by yɛtumi abiebie mu yie. Rich, wo di ma de? Asɛm na wo kan no ho. Wa unim Louis de la Fuente bia no. Adeɛ bi yɛ clear. Emra Spain under Luis Enrique. Okay, say Spain call World Cup on Morocco round of 16 and Morocco in the free. Surprisingly, wow, share competition ni bibia. It was a game that people felt that nan kenisa anka echo into extra time umpo. Rich. Spain at a point a ball possession almost 80. But unim ne shot on target onya just once. Ball na no mo boni na no na enye ball the expected dividends eba. Because na Moroccans no almost say to a low block and on make sure say almost mass Spaniards no emfa ball no areas a bit me a head to omo emfa ball no enco those areas. It's virtually almost ball no but one say almost possess which him say the trait of Spain almost there. I mean since time immemorial almost a storm game san almost ball. Now reach no matter after Luis Enrique coin. De la Fuente take it over. Ade baako a papa o sie di kan bɔ n'aba so. Hwɛ unim adwuma baako a ɛden paa wɔ asase so. National team adwuma baako a ɛden. Richard Spain national team na adwuma din ye paa. So over Spain no aba befa Greece. Metro reason here. Say over Spain for instance politics ne dɔɔso. On say World Cup here Spain ɛkɔ without any Real Madrid player. Now politics ne dɔɔso because say Madrid for feel say Spain your omo dia but what the points na say and a Catalan for na Barca players no almost so feel say yes we have a point to prove because they do not do can almost omo ti omo ho ayo omo man it's so say the ade ni city ema we coach na oh yes selection ema near dey because say o fair Madrid player no one fair Barca player or problem and as all fair Barca players so no one fair Madrid player unim say certainly we benya problem. And this is a manager on one appointment now Mpokrano. Now man for raise a lot of questions because they felt say on said any proven track record on your coach and CV you know I was sure Rebecca say obetimi natural obtake Mpokra ho o she Louis Enrique madwuma na o ma ba be o muja wa kwa enti and not in itself was even a problem. People doubted him so obetimi aye adwuma no patcho so atemase ye pa. Now also about be here adwuma no decide say on for Sergio Ramos. So na catch Sergio Ramos on kind of plans so Emma Sergio Ramos I can say we retire from Spanish football and as international football no inti sadie na nkasa Dani Cavaya omu na say o you see omu inti aba be here problem kese e wo Spain me kai AS Massa ane Dario un mas mo kan omu see we ye dispanification so kai South story na ba bontin mpo e say Spanish identity no ayira because say they feel say Real Spaniards na nanka so omo Spain yo omo dia na Madrid for. Na yes I kwakọ World Cup. Yam fa Madrid player bi anko. So that in itself was even a problem. Kese da ho. Minim say o ka even time na Spain edge World Cup in the first game Switzerland no. O ka say be issue. Say Spain national team no before mbabebo game no na ntokwa esi. Madrid players ne Barca players. Enti no omo ma as a united front. Ti imagine say wo coach no ababa be first such a national team. No amun said any proven track record kese edaho. As Spanish media na omuye pro Madrid for no and so criticizing of fasani ema we nyina mu. But me kind of first interview oye me patro ye de beto Facebook na muntie the first interview as more kind. Omu bisa no say obetimi aye adwuma no. Ye baba be show sisi abehu. Woni man answer dem omo. O catch omo say ono so obi betimi solve Spain problem omo you're not the right man or best solve it. So they were like, now sir, with all the respect, who know be as utie. Will be bet me a solve it or more problem. Who bet me or say I was a professional player for 15 years. Right here. De La Fuente told a press conference on Monday. I won titles. I was an international at youth level. Apart from with the national team, I have coached 16 players who were in the Spain squad at the World Cup. If there is anyone in Spain who knows the present and the future of Spanish football, it's me. so wo obi a onim Spain emprempren mu wo mo tibia wo to wo mo tibia na se na wo say nim Spain da ache a enyu bia yemia apart from say mabobo na minim die etua mu nim Spain abakosem enim mu nsem no meni obi a minim Spain emprempren mu esan ni mo da ache me sure say dey at YouTube am am for so in the statement which clearly Papa no justify and okan sem bi ohun or say he will not change the identity or my identity and say the passing game omo possess ball omo pass omo be excited enya aggressive football enya girigidi enya mrika but rather obeto na the ball na to form papa no omo abotiki taka no or say only but you only ask some nuances to it and a nuances to it right there no person worker Spain baller obo Spain baller obo nyina no clearly who say Spain ball no on system style of play completely patriotic o possessive football competition ya boy consistently teams or no musia nya me patro na out play dominate but they felt to say as in the game no a bit boring because are they or you a bit cautious in as much as omo bobo no omo possess no ade ba ko na any omo team num ne say omo bo a omo throw caution to the wind. But so when you point here, but Papa is ade na ba enti won say we still with the identity. See e be possess game no, ye be ball no, ye be pass ball no, kama. Na emum ye sanso no, e will see a sanso attention by in defense no so. So how do we possess the game without committing more men up front? A big gap at the atiati. Raise one the strategy. And you know, we're making sure some more at least our double pivot. When you be our crowns, they do the idea there's a certain Rodri, raise one who, or be making sure stability. I won't feel pressure and quality. And to almost possess a ball not to defend, and at the same time, one more attention swap by the defense. This is a smart man. Clearly, on India, oil not the oil say. Enter a competition, no. Spain a ball, but the ball, the do baby, and a ball, I expect to be ball pano. Now, we say because our boy a bit cautious. That was the strategy. And I'm happy for this man. Onim, the players, no, may they link it to Ghana. Shana Joshua make a very important point. Now, race your dream course, you make sure address to see. Papa, one the man is so successful. On him Spain team no true and true, because at their youth level under 19 or the Omo achieve successes, under 21 or the Omo achieve waje Olympic gold medal in Nadia Momo on him team no very well. Now, sir, open the team no more. At least there were certain personalities. I trust you almost so much on him. Say do the day crana. Sir boys no. Ebe ye adwuma ne man. Obi say Unai Simon from the under 20, from the under 19 under 21 level. Almost European Championship. No. Keeper was part of it. Fabian Russo-Kai, also a part of Sarko, no. Mikel Merino, Enso Ekaho, Oyazabal, Enso Kaho. And what draft you on the Ababi wrestling team? Because say Onimu Dada, why so conversant with how Omo they said your man, or handle Omo and your day. And to no better creme de la creme, or better superstars. And yeah, Honoshe, only the other results, because on of feel say collectively as a team. Some more and on did the expected results ever, and not just about superstars. When him saw Cardia, the Papa is so humble. Make I say, Nadam Fubi can say, the man losing a job previously on the former club, no, and they say, ni humility no form dodo. As Obuade bread who said dodo. Now return him. Amoje World Cup we no. A certain statement minim say no so the battle social media osisi anamam for her. Players ni be call nchen. Amuko no catch and say coach, since you say the adwuma na si because virtually bibi a person ya achieve bia no ya achieve. When ma so catch omo. I no catch omo say oh, mo bom ho modern. Na mo bom modern ni nyina no, a me gitum so mo bom ho modern no. Adwuma ni si, you sign England so again. Into mo me concentrate. So how even in the midst of excitement say ya ball, ya dear, ya drew a certain level no. All my players na jina ba so say they want TV na yes. What European Championship? We must say World Cup. West Germany na yes had no. And I Spain na nkasa no. Ye the second and the third team. The entire make said the second and the third team they say after West Germany yes had no. No European nation and I Jamaican European Championship and World Cup. Menka World Cup and Euros and come the France bebem. But Miss European Championship and World Cup. West Germany and here. O we in Spain na nkasa eyebi. Minim so kai sa Spain squad na yen. And on one baby view. It's rich and casual achievement when you in UEFA Nations League. And kaya enough obeka bibia chair boys na more so excited. But we are more tia say adwuma see. Rich, I am happy. The entire maker say me the bell in community and say hey Ghana oh yen so bibi mfam free mu. Rich, and all the time they about top coaches or more agide bro. This man I can't say me appreciating it so much. Adwuma wa baba be. Many I say there be young coach Carlos Cruz.
Carlos Cruz, okay.
Rich, Maniaje, he's a very good coach. And yes, all Nyadio, only Majuma Papa, shiny pedigree. But Rich will make a mistake. There be a Diajo top class coaches in Kuna Esso. For Lionel Scaloni, or for Lionel Scalonia, yet the idea be to Facebook, among for her any YouTube. Lionel Scaloni, you say a time in Argentina appointed Lionel Scaloni. Unuma sama Diego Armando Maradona ekai, and it was understandable in a way because that time na Lionel Scaloni, with all due respect, nanko nyobia, also Scaloni is a good guy, mebwa. But he can't even direct traffic, mebwa. The problem is tomorrow he becomes the manager and coach and says, I want to go to the World Cup. Can you go to the World Cup for motorcycling, not football? Rich. And yes, my Diego Armando Maradona kind of. Within that period, it was understandable because by then, who was Lionel Scaloni or the Argentina about World Cup finals? But this same Lionel Scaloni, no one said I know Biano. Why the World Cup, the mom? Apart from the World Cup, was also the Copa America twice. So, Rich, but also when you're pointing, as the Argentina saw another
World Cup final.
Finalism, one some for one against Italy and San Shom. And see, and all the time, and I hear about top coaches or mwajidi. Sometimes you may have coaches be almost need but almost to the concept, almost to the system.
So Jude, me to say, yam fama any idea ni nyasa.
Bro, exactly.
You see the yama kwesi apia siki akono. Ofem na say amemo.
Dabi yama ofem patriotic.
I'm saying that
national team.
Men can't say the national team number, but at least
at the youth level,
yama opportunity.
Yes, and he proved it. But at a point, me no nyampo can say. Ye nyina hu say Ghana the typical agro football na ye pese ebo ye hu so fair this ade no e mai enti ade ntina ya asambo mi gitum say Cruz aba baby or the discipline aba ye team is true but beyond ene near pese age AFCON which in reality the next AFCON me nye prophet of doom by looking at your situation ye ntimi nje enti ye betime decide say okay also fair unu nuanom ye mamo project e bia the next 4 or 5 years ye pegana yen agro football ne pese ye bono me esa identity no na ankra no mo asiso no ye de sa gidie na ma ye adwuma no pato te de mention ase unu nuanom amoroko coach ode omo eba World Cup yi me pato no yo omo under 20 coach ode omo je World Cup so system no so they gradually add in dani enti yensu bibi emfam free mu and
what the first one
na not ensend the also
coffee break bra coffee break bra na
coffee break
your second half no sound company here me pa ye bedi now said some model no
yes
ye fa as Ghana ye beboy
yes sure
so what say
sure
how desperate is here to win trophies no
exactly
ye ko fa some model na ye benya enough time for the coach to build a team and
that's the point
every sound community na ya ba second half and you do those ba for yep you bedin komo kakra bi Bismarck osu bempa ya na so ha na ewia ono so be chance ya dia man so na afi ye didi nkomo na kopim se ebegja dia ka no e di amamna mo so ma be chama dwen abo dwumadien se ne charismatic ventures adu papa fie ye no mo na edi eye edo no nkomo ewia Bismarck osu bempa la ebeto so e di amai opani. Good morning.
Morning, Rich.
Patron, what you saying?
Boko pa na so e.
Oh, nyame adom. Bibia fine. Ya sorry dey na say bibia aye kama pa. Me name ahwefo ene etiefo nyina. No sisi e dey. Ija fidie no di amamo. Yetiemo. Current Ventures.
Rich, medase ewo akonya kese a ode amame ewo platform yi so yi. Na me de enchia pace yesu free. Current stick aso eye ema ahwefo ene etiefo nyina. ben metena sese ya no hu se currency nu pa e wodwa so a ye fe no Zahara mixture, Zahara G capsules, Hindi herbal mixture, ene Zahara man capsules. Ye no imu nkomo, imu adanse ene apomode ho nkomo ane de beso mo no pay. No do fo nkomo ya sase ye de ye dry ye fe no Zahara mixture, ene ne capsules ne topa ye numbo ma ye fe no Zahara G capsules. Ane sase edi kan wo ye nkomo twetwen mu. Sai no emienu eye dura oba ene bema etime nom. Na uye bema na utie me na ne infections pa hawadwen bema bi wo hwa infection bi te se gonorrhea syphilis anase chlamydia eni ni DSA aya na impempi no sa infections we ebetena bema bi so a aya na etimi ma ne bema no ehi ne bema no efon bema bi so hwa etimi ma ensansan ekrokro bi ebetoto ne bema no ho prekese bema bi so hwa aya na impempi no ubonse enso man bi enso fitaa bi ho na efiri ne bemam eba bema bi so ho a enam se wakowura tokoro nim afa ennam yare enti no aya na impempi no odwonso a ubonse ohuna mane na ochim ansa na dwonso etimaba ho abonse dwonso so eka ne ntentem bema mentena ho amia fa rubber ento bemam ansa na wape Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules sekira kwan enu ni adura onoma ebeboa wo enam yare na asha wo so for 10 years wako for so many years a uhu sesaye no aduro no ebeyi ni nyina ede afiri ho oba bi so ho a white pa anasa odepo hanadwen mesi ene na betena aya na eba ne sa etimi ma ensuo bi egugu na sabi pampan bi wom oba bi so ho a etimi eja no nkeka yan ketenkete da bia boss ne baby ekeka no se uye oba na white no ene wa betena na sabi ama wa himfie ho no abie kakra oba mesra wotie miye adura ene wan onuma oba mese ebeboa wo infections bia etete obayi ni nyina ede afiri ho ene Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules se uye oba na utie me na untimi emunsa oba bi wo ho a 2 years ni onya na menses da oba bi so ho a onya na menses a pains ene amane pa no nemu se wo ye oba na otesa ko ba bi etun aduro organ ha se eye drugstore pharmacy shop herbal shop bi e ben wo de oduru ho pe wo se wo pe duro na ye fre no Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules no enu ni adura oba onoma ebeboa wo se wo ye oba so na wo ho na ennam yage bi se gonorrhea syphilis ene wabetena na eja wo jonso ya wo oba bi so ho a etimi eja ne sisiyale oba bi so ho a etimi ma ensansan bi ebetigu na himfi ho se wo ye oba na otisa Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules no ye de aduro no abase embeboa wo dofo bi ho so ho a impempi no da bia no wadale awie no na yese de bibi enenam no ho na ne ho akeka na nketenkete odofo bacteria infections na ene wabetena no Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules eduro no enu ni adura ebeboa wo ulcer na edi 10 years eda ho to so no wako for so many years odofo obi ho a mesi ondidi ya na ne yam edwan no the moment abiane beto ne yam pe ubonsa ne mfe na chinkasei ubonsa ne bua no nyina ehhehye odofo kodra store pharmacy shop herbal shop bi abel wo se wo pedro na ye fe no Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules no enu ni adura onoma wo ulcer na etete wo no ebeyi ni nyina ede afiri ho na ye dwei akuta nnuane nuruba bi a me say se wo ho na wo weak immune system obi wo ho a onanchi kakra bi abonse ote so oye bibi kakra bi abonse ohuna mane debia odofo wa ye no fo jalian ketenkete na ahihya wo ho odofo debia ewa wabọ 10 years no oda ho bọ wa odofo de bia nkoa wabọ de bia infections utreat ekona aba odofo edra ene aba ebeboa wo ebeboost immune system no na sa strengthen wo se de beya jalie bia entimi emetwifa so nko ene Zahara mixture ene Zahara G capsules no kodra store pharmacy shop herbal shop bia ben wo udi oto adro na frɛ number yi bibia onti asie bia no nye nkyekere mu 0246
0246
34
34
83
83
34
34
0246
0246
34
34
83
83
34
34
0248
0248
56
56
93
93
35
35
0248
0248
56
56
93
93
35
35
Adafo yɛbɛkɔ yɛ adura ɛwɔ dwa so a yɛfrɛ no hindi herbal mixture so na sɛ adura hindi ɛyɛ adura current stick ayɛ sɛ ɛmba boa dɔfo bi a ɛtiri malaria ɛtete no dɔfo bi wɔ a de bia nanum ayɛ nwonwonwono ɔno nko abo sɛ ontimi ɛndidi ɛnyɛ kama te bia wapɔ so na sɛ gya wo tipayɛ de bia onko unie ahomka adafo mesi wo hia aduro na yɛfrɛ no hindi herbal mixture no adafo bi so hɔ a typhoid fever tete no hanadwen odofo codra store pharmacy shop herbal shop bi abɛn wo si wo pedro na ye frɛ no hindi herbal mixture no ɛno ne adura ɛbɛboa wo odofo bi so wo ha asichi yale tete no te bia obɛcheck ne sugar level no na kwa na ɛkɔsoro odofo wo hia aduro na ye frɛ no hindi herbal mixture no ɛno ne adura onoma ɛbɛboa wo o pressure na ada no dadwen odofo mesefa hindi herbal mixture no ɛyɛ waduro dofo bi so wo ha impempi no ɔyɛ adwuma ogya ho ɛba ne saa de bia na pomden ɛwɔ fam na pomden atosin ɔdɔfo wohia aduro na yɛfrɛ no hindi herbal mixture no ɛno ne adura onoma ɛbɛsiesie nipadua no yalie bia ehinta asie wɔ nipadua no no hindi herbal mixture no wo start sɛ onom na ɛbɛyi ne nyina ɛde afiri hɔ codra store pharmacy shop herbal shop bia bɛn wo se wo pedro na yɛfrɛ no hindi herbal mixture ɛno ne adura onoma ɛbɛboa wo Odofo yɛbɛkɔ yɛ memedro no so a yɛfrɛ no Zahara man capsules sɛ dro we ɛyɛ adura yɛde aba sɛ ɛbɛboa bɛma bia sɛ woyɛ bɛma na utiemi atiemie bɛma bi wɔ hɔ a mesi owo weak erection emra agronum ayɛ de no ɛhɔ na ne mema sɛm no ɛbɛkɔ fam ɛhɔ na animguaseɛ ɛbɛka no sɛ woyɛ bɛma na wote sɛ mese wadro ɛyɛ baako pɛ Zahara man capsules so uye bema na utieme na premature ejaculation ene wabetena wo ahoɔden no ye frɛ 30 seconds bema 1 minute no mpo no untimi emfansi ani endru ho so uye bema na otisa mesi wadro ene Zahara man capsules so onkomwa no so ayemre bema mesi edro ba ko pɛ na bɛboa wo Zahara man capsules enu ne adura onoma mreye bia mese waye ye twetwew efra 1 minute bema no Zahara man capsules aduro no ebeboa ebeyi ni nyina e de afiri ho odofo saje na mesi biem 0246
0246
34
34 83
34
34
0246
0246
34
34
83
34
34
0248
0248 56
56
93
93
35
35
0248
0248
56
56
93
93
35
35
Order for me de manu sin de bia meka me see bambo atrema eye chen ayare sabakitma mentra ho anya mobo efisane asetene momodin to anamosisi a codra store pharmacy shop herbal shop bia men wo se wo pe Zahara mixture ene ne topa ya ye numboma your friend Zahara G capsules a ebeboa boost immune system no asa to infections bia bi te se gonorrhea ene hindi herbal mixture ebeboa dofo bia malaria fever typhoid fever high blood pressure any diabetes any na betena any Zahara man capsules a eboa bema bia mese waye mra emma etwetwe no edi ne ho few efre no 1 minute bema odofo opeye no bia o mantama wo ba bia utibia codra store bia pharmacy shop herbal shop na me sha obosa nyamedi mu nte no to edro no bia wo be ya danse na waka se current shake edro no eye papa me da se rich
yes so yeda se pa na current ventures for edna enomu ekodi enkomo na dro no se de okan ni nyina ewudwa so ntu ko ba bia to adupa bia na wato de na yare krona hawo no odi akotu ase na bibia no akonyamiti obato ama onso no opomede wonsam ne bibia no ayekama ade ama ye to adwumade ne so ade ama Monday edition of Nhyira digital passports Bismarck owusu bempa ayala atena sena kwasi adwuma say na nka I say why are you guys hyping Lamine Yamal for Ballon d'Or? What has he done? Apu akwanu wasa rough nka rent no asem wa ho minimum say bia ko tin baby dia ha de yen ka se la me ama akwaje Ballon d'Or bi asem ha. All right. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Now what you saying?
Oh, nyame adom baby I fine.
E de nyame ase. Na sisi me go through o graphics a wodi ama social media for no. Na World Cup yi nyame nu ko na man for spend you. I'm shocked, seriously.
You see, on the entire World Cup ni we no. Every image from FIFA president Gianni Infantino, he is laughing.
Oni papa no. Donald Trump.
Oma cash out. So, who read reports from the Athletica, any BBC? Almost say in Qatar, FIFA made around $7.6 billion from the World Cup. Now, FIFA is yet to publish or more accounts for this World Cup, no. But financial institutions say or more projection. FIFA is approaching 13 billion. And from 7.6
to 13
last 4
billion.
years to 13 billion.
So it makes sense because expansion.
That is it. Into FIFA are almost doubling from the last World Cup. Into when we say about World Cup, Gianni Infantino started hinting so 48 teams in the corner. I hear they expand their side because the expansion has given them a lot of money. Now, send our own ball listeners and viewers with a lot of numbers and a little bit of breakdown. I find that for money music and free. First one, of course, I am broadcasting. Yeah, ton TV rights deal. Yeah, ton radio commentary deals. I'm media houses. A huge amount of money, and I'll be to Yama FIFA and son what to me enya sa rights no e de aye de ode beye. De to so mienu e licensing. Enti se we Adidas a oni ama license to provide technical support to footballs and sa no money nyina ona de beba. Enti the licensing na unhu yes your official beverage partner Coca-Cola official way ni nyina e licensing. FIFA edema those licensing and amount who kwama only FIFA ye business doing the World Cup. And there are some zones abekwa we mu na ya ton right na mo say omunye sa business we wa ha. And why mo no maje license to sell tickets on behalf of FIFA sa omo eriska beba. Why mo am license to do this business on behalf of FIFA doing the World Cup omo and omo di sales can beba. So licensing and so every FIFA sika bebre. Then the hospitality rights. So we FIFA contingent. FIFA na bet your hotels how be choosy. All those hotels now be choosing are hotels or money FIFA contracts. Into Marriott, money big hotels mono. Or money na FIFA contracts. Our money hospitality industry or money FIFA partnership to do it. I don't think I bet choosy maybe akwakoda. Now unim. My member was our backstory. Ubeje di say ekobase 4 or 3 teams. I was almost one city. In FIFA allocating baby teams in the bedano. Rich, unim say the first choice, and I say the owa akonya to choose first is depending on the ranking. And Tiavan say Ghana. Yene Brazil and say Scotland. We have to base in Abia, Rhode Island. Then FIFA will list more partners hotels are Rhode Island. So I'm listening with the member association Rich within sa enclave no. The work to choose first okay maybe per hotel A based on the ranking on the FIFA ranking.
You are more bra. Hotel di Zania Donkor.
That is how it is done.
Next time, you know. Okay, no, baby, papa.
That is how it is. Then the last two, no, the sponsorship and ticket sales, you know, those are Nyoma, FIFA Faswa, or raise your revenues during the World Cup. Now, Rich, another example in Tia, this World Cup, FIFA Eriki in money, any US Eriki in money. My remember one example. Say, New Yorker, in so New York, any New Jersey, in so them at that. Now, the finals was played in New Jersey. Nyanko Padaroma was able to visit MetLife there 2 or 3 times and send me back. Not to go and watch football, but a American dream, one of the biggest stadium you can take pictures in here. Now, Rich, Ubeje say, doing the World Cup final, yeah, boy, say, yeah, more World Cup USA. Nasa offer 20-30 minutes train. Don't for the transit train. Nasa okasa odi free any points. Ako MetLife Stadium a cost $12.90. Rich, walk a far away. The same train oko for $150.
Is that the point? Fly to ground.
Adi cost it odi for $13. No. Now it is costing you $150 to take the same train to the same venue. That is how Enyoma peja ye US. Baby abeda. Rich. Baby to say baby na Ghana ye team hotel in Rhode Island no. So also ye Ghana and Centroni. Until you want to be closer to the team. Rich per night. Na unya hotel one night less than $80.
Okay, I mean, me choose $150.
Unya less than $850. Yes,
a night.
A night. Enti.
$150.
Yes, a night. And also better. So being team hotel on the da. That was how expensive World Cup with and so social media for this omode and for expensive. This survey was done by the Athletic, random fans, how much they've spent. And people will have an appreciation of how individuals see almost spending. There was one guy from Norway, one guy from Brazil. Look at how $8,000. If you spend $12,000, and yes, I want to wear all the matches in the World Cup. If you walk over here, about 5 games, 6 games, 4 games, but you know how a normal AC echo. Norwich. Then comes Omo Akunya to buy the TV right deals, no, and I say Omo from right holders, no. Say all the Fox, example, because me when I went to the US, Fox was my go-to TV station for the World Cup coverage. Rich, Fox at the World Cup coverage, $485 million. $485 million. Now, forget about all almost sponsors are near Gusu Bebre, Ubeje say, on 3 minutes hydration break now. Rich, according to survey, Fox charge between 200 to 300,000. So we place adverts. I was a hydration break on Now, so we place adverts. Our games are US matches. Also US matches. I just say, you have to pay around 750,000.
Almost 1 million.
This are hydration break on Nkwano. So I say, yeah, Nhyira FM advert. That is how much you are supposed to pay. And what TV rights are 485 million. But Sika from TV sponsorship, no. I was our World Cup, and yet as some ketwa. Now, Rich, research say, Yamko for Muko efficacy, World Cup in Kwa and Kofa place bets estimated $50 billion.
$50 billion
bets in Kwa. On the average, every game be you can wages you sika for the 2 games so. on the average every game be a $500 million.
Betting companies now you brutal. My first brutal.
50 billion. And yes, a betting for the whole tournament. The whole tournament, $50 billion. $50 billion. It is a only betting company. Walk up with.
That's why when you was all convert to where you know to be. Phone back out was I can't.
I had a physical. A jatum. That's the other catch. What I be say.
Wow.
The moment I find out, say, there is one owner from India. On one only member betting companies, 3 betting companies
in Ghana.
Big, in Ghana, big international betting companies. Very, very famous. Even this World Cup. So we Obi Ohe ne World Cup from DSTV beyond. Will get this hint. Now, omu running omu betting companies and adverts at Twasso. 3. Me now have one owner or Indian.
Akwa uska.
Fatinya kupon. Sika omu shie. No. Into which it is one of the best when it comes to commercialization. Work up where boy. That is the reason why Donald Trump say or catch the Gianni Infantino and check. Omusafa World Cup number USBM. Na omunsa en hosti. That is why Gianni Infantino is all smiles after the World Cup. FIFA stocks in terms of income akosro and omo maye juma businesses around this World Cup. We are not talking about even paraphernalia. Rich, even if you descend to Ghana, you be said Diago.
Just Ghana.
This World Cup, Ghana just is our tone. Any Ghana flag or Momotun Sebi Pamson same crowd street on crown had their own that is what you are talking about. It's in Kofoye Scapadi film. Now Medema no see on the sporting side no. I think the 3rd and 4th gave Obia the no Oshe. Samika say Obia the no Oshe then am besa me chair. They be as about tournament near about 3rd and 4th. Rich, mostly determined by wine a penny more. Obu the disappointment of say a share in semi-finals. No, Emma ne conquer no tournament in Impobium.
So you're scrapping female?
No, FIFA must give the bronze medal. In terms of the prize money, no, FIFA must rank it according to baby Obiedi. It is important for meritorious awards in this animal to FIFA.
We were clearly drew out to say teams in the Mienu be any appetite to play.
But the Nancy way. And my man go for it and say Shelley, I don't know a bit my fun. Look at the game. Probably the most fun game I hear or walk up on. With no pressure. Anyway, it gets to you say I say mama some excitement. We say say so much in here and you can see a two cry. Now, Rich, going into that game, so our coach is in a situation. Make minimum so ba kai san komo we di answer na ye be start work up. Make catch you say mempe da when ye either say ye go season and I be tournament, then you make public a decision on the coach. And before you be tournament, you know, Obien said this is Didier Deschamps' last assignment with the French national team. Anytime you be taking a decision, it doesn't go well. That is the reason why I was predicting France in Yade, but they even exceeded my expectation. But Rich, when it dawned on Didier Deschamps in Manchester, this was in the final game. No, a comment and I didn't for our game. No, he had nothing to prove. You more game, I mean, mommy, what farewell message after 14 years, and let me buy out. Even before that game never started, a lot of the French players have already written their messages to the coach. And starts now France in was coming from psychological blow now. Omunu said there is nothing at stake for them. But Rich, who got the other side? Thomas Tuchel a lose to Argentina. Pressure a fear a good team no. he needed to at least also mitigate sa anu na e won so no kakra with the third place game. And you could clearly see from Thomas Tuchel nankasa ni dimina on the bench. Any players no select you money say wa catch you say masa munko ye bibi mame. At least na mintimi kan kophobia no ntum kakra. And I'm telling you, should Thomas Tuchel continue as the coach of England, third place game no win now against France no will be very very crucial to start the season now or taking no. Now 82 coaches in here. Everything was at stake for one. Oh, the other one there was just an occasion to say goodbye. Now, Rich, then comes the individual players. Starting 11, everybody says, oh, Hurricane Mbo. But Kylian Mbappe, Babo. Hurricane Mbo because Hurricane thought, look, they all say, this is time for Ivan Toney Moses, so I'm comparing Munyamo tournament in him. You couldn't win it.
And is it eyebrow now?
No.
Okay.
A check what people wanted from that game, no. Kylian Mbappe came to play that game, and yeah, I read also winning golden boot. Umpire didn't game was 2 goals, and I don't know when they winning the top scorer award no. And also the upper free game in him. Now other players are no winning a game in England now. You have more opportunity to play. They also at least show the reason why they were part of the squad. They do even including France crowd. Players be na no France team doing the competitive aspect of the game. Third place game na more opportunity. No so nya to show say oh say did the same ko empoko na Zidane ba na open look in. These are the kind of performance we team the man so in the future on frame. And for me the third and fourth game no obianya they na open from the game. They open bibi they are saving the job enyae. They open the goal kinaji enyae. They one say that young man akonya man amobi na say oh for we ehoho enso enya akonya edeye. Enti everybody got what and into the poor game is over here. Obia was happy.
Yes, a hanky panky.
Yes, Obia.
Oh, man, wait a minute.
Yes, into Obia.
Who would you go to me?
Now, Rich,
imagine a Kruma. Near Bogana Premier League.
The conspiracy theories will work. Say, and the trust levels of them. Now, who say game no outcome no minim Obia no one. Yes, the level of disappointment from the Argentina perspective, no, and the ABA was so people expected them to give more fights than they gave yesterday. But me yes sure say the way a game no call Spain air dominating no, e will be anwa.
No omumre Argentina for
omumre Rich.
Cause omu game be a show no omu de ni bra betika no.
Spain untimi no omu nyina mbo. If they are in that kind of mood, forget it. Forget about it. If they are in that kind of mood now, no time you room into the knockout stages of this tournament now. No, almost as almost boss sabo na. Forget it. Untimi no mumbo. But for me as an analyst, Rich, my biggest lesson from game na share no. The general debate of philosophies of football into this season. Arsenal G League, England. One of the most commercialized and talked about league Ghana. Then the rhetoric was that Obia enjoy Arsenal samneka na resource the hu here. And for one a coin of us nya resource no. So we see obebo Catanasio, so obebo Dion. So the one goal project was free kick on over head atum. Na on my own take no the Belgian league. And also see a one way we play football. And the Arsenal G League no. And my premium talk by about defensive aspect of the game and defensively winning a title. I will be able to do. Then Rich, Arsenal made it to the Champions League final against Luis Enrique team Paris Saint-Germain, known for the attacking football. And Tubakaya ahead of that game, all the analysis was okay. Now it is attacking football against defensive football. Yakobo Boni not attacking for never win. So say catcher say the best way to play the game is to attack and dominate possession. This sound of man, and fair and now we need there and the sound of man. Now, Rich, fast forward, we went to the World Cup. Forget about the Obia, but as at the time, Argentina and Spain, Babiciano, Obia, Argentina born no more of character, grit, aggression. They defend well. ɔmo be bone ne den so Spain for the da form the Spanish flair team engine room no ɔmo midfielders they will pass you enti mekai in the run up to the final obia futu no de Argentina and say they've gotten away from going down, but they should be careful they don't go down against Spain, because if you go down against Spain they will pass you to the end of the game. Unya akonya emba back. Now Rich say your social media phone be provide graphics we am here. Spain ba World Cup they considered 1 goal mewa.
Yeah.
That was against Belgium.
Yeah.
According to statistics from Opta to live score ni obia, almost Spain conceded only 2.4 SG. Nese senka obia more than share Spain no. Senka more than mpo a result say ye share Spain mpo a. And Spain will concede only 2.4 goals in the tournament. But minu nyenim say nye chance bia na ye share e football mu. Until they ended up conceding only 1 goal out of the 2.4 chances they considered, and expecting goals shemu. Now we are no free Rich. Ubeje say in the history of the World Cup, Spain abeka Italy and Germany and meka Italy. I'm talking about the Italian team. According the 1938 and the 1982 World Cup, and meka Germany team lifted the 1990 World Cup. Say Spain abeka home as the third country or mobile World Cup away as winners, and they never trade in a game. Say obi ashoma omo da form also mkotika. Ebi ensi da for Spain throughout this World Cup. That is how special Spain a winning World Cup way etie. Even the Spanish team of 2010 in South Africa that had Iniesta, Fabregas, Xavi, Busquets, named Puyol, Piqué, Sergio Ramos, Ike Casillas, superstars. Omumpo couldn't win the World Cup in the fashion this Rodrigo Cascante win for Spain. No? Because Omudie, Obakaya, they lost their first game. Until they trade in the match. Wemu drew their first game, but never. And I said Spain had to chase a game. Say Omoya down, never. And see that. Rich. Me I'm sure say Nra. Obi say Joe and Cruyff or Danada Kamwa. Obi was so no kakra. People like Pep Guardiola. Omo jatun the philosophy of total football. Omo making arguments say we still insist, even with people like Jose Mourinho, people like Rafa Benitez, say there's another way of playing football. That is the balance of the team, the defensive aspect. And Nancy Ampo, Spain had a betrayal from Mikel Arteta. Say, Spanish, La Masia boy.
How defend it?
What was you with Pep Guardiola? Now you switch to Jose Mourinho, a philosophy say, we need title. You have to concentrate on defending. Me also say they felt betrayed by Arteta. But Rich, this World Cup, as a moment, as a top, say we told the whole world, say the best way to play football is to dominate possession, play champagne football. So we need it is special. Look, some months ago. So I am imagining Pau Kubasi at the age of 23.
Bo.
Yes. Because Rich,
is it age 19? Got the World Cup.
As the best young player
of the tournament.
And he has been impeccable for Spain.
Bobo.
Look. Yes, and then modern football analysts are about the why must you be hyped about a defender passing range? Need so be defended. Rich, the guy defended. But in the Spanish team now, woman,
two passer.
One of the way Obetimia contributed to the way Omobono was to also have the ability to pass. And look at the guy on the ball from defense. Otimibo pass now breaking 2 lines. And no ball pass be my Oyazabel. Rich, I love watching midfielders play, but I envy that pass as a defender. A crap 19-year-old World Cup final. Who could say from your defensive position? Over some ball pass, money breaking 2 lines in a World Cup final stadium against Argentina. That is bravery, and the guy did so well. And I'm say, look, people like flamboyant players and to try more share goals. But when he was chosen as the best young player, again, Rich, there are a lot of times that we've made arguments for midfielders and defenders to win best players of tournament, best players, Mr. Ballon d'Or, FIFA best, because to us, we always say they are the engine of the game. They play so well, but when we are, because they are not scoring, they are not assisted. Rich, this was a World Cup. Attackers in the ball home audio.
Goals.
Hurricane, Erling Haaland, Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi. But Menijia Bako, and say the tournament has recognized Wadri Cascante for the way everything that is happening within the Spanish team is centered around him. Almost say Masawona best player of the tournament. Forget about Omomushie goals, forget about those who gave us the joy to shout, go, Nebimu Piabante, and Machewa Dakura, why game the Umesia, allow me ever go, we bet him a but they've recognized, look, but what do you know too much? And Unim say, Rich, this thing people will not tell you, but Wadri Eka Humbion, and midfield scouting assistant. This thing you need to be deep in football conversations to understand. So you'll be out there ready. I also ready. We don't do much of obi play away. Some command cost behind the scenes. Rich and ne. So who Ghanaian midfielder be? Nasa also onimbo into obi cotton and mawa. Only one of the questions will be or height.
Okay.
Because Wadri actually say Busquets mono. They were very, very good transitional midfielders for Spain, but only height, only physicality. But Rich, what did we be? And the obo longer, about my head. And now we also be a tweet say Wadri makes a lot of foul, but hardly near Bukino. His intelligence to do tactical fouls me won't be that. Ne command on the ball, ne passing. So Baby just space magic ball. He is always found on the pitch. On your sami for an yes, I recognize Pedri, Fabian Ruiz, Muni Omomo who say they are good parenting. It brings out the best out of him. But Rich, Uta Okudu and in America, Wadri is a monster of a midfielder. Monster of a midfielder. United Simons consider only one.
I ran in the instant out the Piabon Tibe sweepy ball. Who be that? And now Messi pass be no.
Now Obiano say, "Hey, and the camera ni talk they also say we just want to do." So I was like, and one way you would think baby Ojina say place no bobo no say hono Ojina and those are the things. Everyone did well in the Spanish league. Apart from the goal king, which and only determined by the number of goals, all the other individual awards in the Spanish team won all of them. I think that we have a so they've done really well. De La Fonte, special man. And Yababe did De La Fonte home common when we switched to the local in terms of the lessons now we've said it over and over again. Say, and I this that me never read the article, but who say Athletic Factual article be almost say it is another moment method wins over moments. And what they are trying to say is a method as in boy ya cookie or diet street. Boy ya chile from Mkrabim say saying a person boy no. A winning over Omwa. They get good players along their generation, put them together and say, let's go and win something. Spain for no, anytime they win, you could clearly see a timer Rich Diomuchidi say ni yemo born reigns over Obia at that time. There will be moments France will come and win the World Cup, Brazil will win, Germany will be winning. But there are some countries that will win World Cup now. And simply because they believe in a certain way of playing, they keep loyalty to SAR system, and once in a while, SAR system will come as the best among all the countries in the world, and almost as some bonomo getting to SAR governor, no matter team or war, no matter the players you assemble. If they are playing that kind of football, you will not be able to beat them.
So, for example, Saudi Arabia, the defending command Fantuaso. Example, you said that Ghana and football DNA is the agroball. You could take with a ball, no, Yankas and this Spain, you know, Yasa, Nessa. So, what I say, you were born to entertain and fans from the Baba. What about countries? Richard, Sa agroball now was a DNA, money and DNA. How do you mean? This Serbian coaches now they be find the akoball. You can say one top near the you defend the in one go near go near there. And dear co baby, but global now was any no. Yaba and coffee be for mine.
So we need to find a balance.
The
we need to find a balance. You see, I have belonged to South two school of thought in Ebida. Me, you know, I thought the typical Ghanaian footballer is a midfielder. Opebone kuta. Street football in a bobida. Ya ponko school. Even school crowd ya pon say be be coffee. You be do feni when you fin gata nimna near bo. Saturdays are not you are off to the nearest pitch. Mumbabobo akofisa mbaba enyomre mbobo nchendi. Those who know me were Bantama enim ya bo ncheni or Rich Park, ya bo Labi Park, ya bo Akosa Park, ya bo bossa. When I moved to Adwato, ya bo Salvation Park, ya bo Prempe Park, and so we've played football on the streets. We've watched football on the street too. My community guys I'll come and watch because I want to follow the game as a typical disciple of it. So I Ghana ni boa and I how naturally a boa. Ubenya a very good goalkeeper. Ubenya will be a on down wa. But the stamina to the kwaba ne de too. Ubenya will be all left. Tin tipa. Who den. It's okay. So who are left by one den dia ne wo bebo 3. Ya perform five or height kakra. And I say, Otimi pimpim near den or you aggressive. Born ba obetimi kutabo no best near man fans. So okay, I go be boy chire amaye. Near the way now. Then naturally, your area no players na onu no emfifi hono. Onimbo ni kuta. Onimbo ni passe. Near so okay na wo be boy sisa amaye. No aboy ho ban. Oni edin be take wo energy. Ti emba mo me kai those days ukwadwa to your guy be friend emba obibo 6 amount ne ne edin onim passe onim take onim bibia biye ne edina 6. Then we play na efifi wono rich onim bo ni ball but ono ne de no oye willing to do whatever adwuma na e won fifi wono so ke no obibo 8 amaye to a controller. Born Bappen or a person home and Eddie, I'm 8. No, we judge na so. Not the most dribbler, no way to me a 10. We a dribbler. To now we create chances na my need wedge now. Me a pistes back on the right, back on the left. Me am here wingers and tiasi football mono. Now when him go share deja no manai. Now in that fundamental understanding of how I hear naturally, your instinct to say football say near bono. Say that to your ability as Ghanaian will be opebo bia sana ehye team no. Rich sadia na we went through CK Jeffy, we went through the multi-system people. We went through Coach Afane, Herbert Ado, money great coaches. They exploited sadia in us for us to understand say na naturally here. Yanko World Cup da. You couldn't qualify for the World Cup, not even once. Under those great coaches who understood Ghana football through and through. Then came the Serbians. And I'm say, okay, unim, more talent, You seem to understand how to play football. But at the highest level, you need organization. Bona mo bono. Much chamu wegna park so in terms of more talents and more abilities. But they don't go top wapano. How you organize the now with the Gina Park so organization. The name tacticals and structure. You need to have a structure with it. And see, Sabonu Kutawa, at the end of Sena Basso Odeko. Sabonu Kutawa, Sena, O crown, not everyone I didn't see a beshow. Interatome Dukovic, Milovan Rajavac, Nancy I, Karos Kures. We now have come to show us, say, to play at the highest level, we need structure to guide the talent. Into which, you're fortunate. We've had 2 generations of our football. We have players, they've excelled within those systems. No? Let's sit down and merge it. You merge it. You merge it in a certain way that will identify us. And to say, Ghana ni, you tina se krancho book na say yenye proper documentation. No? The ambassador can say the fair idea on the streets and say, then we can have a system where without the ball, you're conscious about defending compacts. Name saying, we have the ability to hold on to it to pass our way into offensive transitions. That should be the fundamental of our development.
And come on, about also. Na Jude.
Yes.
There's any day. Some pa grobon, a grobon, anye.
Yes, Rachel Made. Senior I can be brave. Me for perspective we am fan count.
Okay.
Rich, me chu adwene ade bi so. Hwe time na Ghana. Ye call ye maiden World Cup. And ye second World Cup as well. There were certain players no mudi mu akotini ye pa. Sule Ali Muntari, Michael Essien, Derek Boateng Jr. So Kaisa Derek. John Pencil, Adukwe Papu. Say no mudi mu akotini ye pa. Me can sa names no e him fan e Donkor. Liberty Professionals and a Liberty Academy. Me boa. Say e ho na Donkor ko wi asamoa jan e ho na Donkor wi. Bro, yenti ade bi ase. Spain ade a omo ye nyina no. Ade ba ko aboa ye de fe no investment. Because anytime I beka basa no the academy system na wo kan. Yes, Lamasia. The Entiama de la Fuente one bebre. Our no sunim says onya basa players no mu dominate you. Omreno has got to do with the fact say because of the academy system no more invested so much into it. Omo to omo say that chemistry, that telepathy. Ni nyina wo ho. Enti we bonani a onim say we wo hasa energy no e wo ho. Enti say wo kire omo ade de obaby an e ma na nya dey ma. Tina my boss our players including Dada Kuja Samoa. Rich, share Edrumred as gold. Titi as gold. So no more bobola. Minim say yala they fortunately no show matches. No, right? Cast on bed draw. Almost meet do bobo be more new subru. Rich with him the omo. Because of sa academic concept, no. No boy. First 15-20 minutes, omo ball on pass omo ball. On bet me about the passing game, short passes, on the pass ball around. Rich, almost shall now tell now press one. Almost me BM, almost BM corings, no more ball on balls, and to be a no onim as good then piano. Oh no more ball, on cast on best or 10 on best. The almost best on Modiano and on Modio. Because of some investments and now come as our academy born. And to know what society and assist so much to the extent that because academy no be a woman no because unim spend team na Renaissance also apart from some short passing game or decide so ball on balls and so and who the all ye biano onimu yatre no onim a system okay first 20-30 minutes yeah but short passes pa sani e be bono okay time omo be press here more I release omo high no ya be say use long balls. Yet the baby omo eni so ombe no so inti at any point in the game omo nim de oso omo ye inti e ma na nya dey farm omo e na omo te omo ho ase ti na make us a time na Ghana yes yeah the AFCON come over to nche name at the higher stage World Cup na ye kan nso a yetimi ekɔ no the nucleus of the team no mo feel liberty professionals meboa
di no mo to mo ho ase
no mo to mo ho ase sa chemistry no was there and no born na nka so mo born say one sa academy system no broad ye wo mu nie yet omo training ye different from the normal training na say kotokone house room air you onim de nti omo ye omo san target ne say de omo ko European market no and omo diets omo ye very particular about it apart from their diet players training na ye dem omo no time na wafa wo ho Feyenoord ebe wafa no unma de ba kwa na wo mo omo players no ye training omo enim see de omo eko Ajax ana Feyenoord training na ye dem omo no so ko suga kofe a training na omo Ajax no enya no e ya no na ye dem omo
go the same system.
That's the point. Enti no stadium sa na omo players no etu kwan ya na omo mre easily omo timi bo but your players ni bia bebre ni tu kwan na omo ho kire omo cause e bi ono training na wo fam wo ha no okukudu ho na ni su bebre no enti yenti sadia ne nso ase say yes the ayala kan no crepa but bro about time yenso sa academy system no or say you invest more
at least
football,
the
no?
national academy be
Perfect football no adane bro no cry wo no football adane France then ama France ababe so dominant we investing but what you say from the scratch Morocco de intia academy system we invest into it and yam committee enye bibia na ya o se de ko she FF mbacho time na liberty we invest on the academy mu na FF o kan se do baby kra man for blame kwesi nya ntachi say adentina liberty players adults so and Black Stars ni blame no enso na enye ne fault entia about time as a nation you bet you decide say you invest say look say me enso ya pese ekono enti say as gold company team then no to me decide say me invest liberty yera slide tate nyame mfa ne currency e decide say o invest ama na boa o man
ya liberty egu
ya shama liberty egu because onim some talent na ya kan o mo bobola o mo jira pitch so who difference so do your academy player no o bobola they got in ball asa na hu the ball no Michael Essien je ball na o boa
me can those days in say one for players in the back kotokwa Obobo na to be said this is academy player.
Yes, me pacho she Kudus. She Kudus. She be say Majid Asmeru. She sa talent. Bisa so omo na omo ntitie free. Because say ni e kan right to dream academy so. One so omo so ba na omo ba. She even Calabria nchi mu. Enti asem na ye kan no. Ye mi adwene nkoso as a nation say there ought to be a concerted effort. Na nka state ni be invest sika.
At least I call ka baba sa sika no. Infrastructure be so yes start to be
say BPS
so because we can players you can say your man
I mean brilliant analysis but that all sports are some no can win who we akoko wie but what they mean is we need to invest grassroots yentiase yen committee funds na niam bi ohon mo bia anke be say yesika
be pa de pa ba yen pese be invest
won say a problem no
yen pa de pa mo kwaje afro mo ko ka pa mo nya de meanwhile you don't invest
if you reach a free auctioneer kono
oh yeah be bi mba
we are going to discuss the lessons ayenya from this World Cup, how we can also build your football near this. So we will have fantastic discussion on these issues. Now, for the purpose of a momutie and your momo which almost a sports there, but the biggest news in Ghana, the court case involving Chairman Wuntumi.
Okay.
Now the breaking news about because judge deliver ne verdict no.
Okay.
Now information about and they say Chairman Wuntumi you jailing 20 years.
Wow.
Yes. Chairman Wuntumi have been jailed 20 years.
Okay. Yenyina so na yenkotwa homra. Big news. Okay. Pamjo yebasisi ya yenche. Explain the no ɛyɛ saa ne sa so ate ase yɛbɛbɔ to entertain fans from the beba wobɛka kyerɛ sɛ Richard saa agorɔ bɔɔl no mo sɛ ɛne DNA yɛ mmɔ ne adeɛ ni naa no hanya wiaman this Serbian coaches ne ade bɛfa deɛ ɛkɔ bɔɔl yɛka ne sɛ one top ne ade ne yɛ defend a nya one goal bi ne akogo akyire ne ade a ɛdeɛ kɔ baabi ba agorɔ bɔɔl no mo sɛ ɛne DNA no yaba nkɔfa biribi amfa man.
So we need to find a balance.
We
need to find a balance. You see, I have belonged to South two school of thought in Ebida. Me, you know, I thought the typical Ghanaian footballer is a midfielder. Opebonu kuta. Street football in Yabobida. Yaponko school. Even school crowd yapon say be kofie. Ibedu feni ho ye fi gata nim na ebo. Saturdays anopa odidi wie ya you are off to the nearest pitch. Mbobo akofesa mbaba enwumre mbobo nchendi. Those who know me wo Bantima enim ya bo nchendi wo Rich Park, ya bo Labi Park, ya bo Akosa Park, ya bo bossa. When I moved to Adwato, ya bo Salvation Park, ya bo Prempe Park, and so we've played football on the streets. We've watched football on the street too. My community guys, I'll come and watch because I want to follow the game as a typical disciple of it. So Ghana and I'll how naturally a bobo. Ubenya a very good goalkeeper. Ubenya will be an answer down wa. But the stamina to the kwaba ne de too. Ubenya will be all left. Tin pa. No den. It's okay. So who you left by one den there who about three. Ya perform five or height kakra. And I say otimi pimpim na near den or you aggressive. Born ba obetimi akutabo no best near man fans. It's okay. Go be chire man. Near the way jina ho. Then naturally your area no players na onu no emfimfi ho no onimbo ni kuta onimbo ni passe ni say okay na wo bebo yesi saman no aboye ho ban oni edin obetake wo energy nti emba mo me kai those days wo kwado ato your guy be friend emba obebo 6 amount na ni edin onim passe onim take onim bibia biye na edin agina 6. Then we play na emfimfi ho no Rich onimbo ni ball but onu ni de no oye willing to do whatever a jumane won't feel one. So can obo 8 am to a controller. Born bapen or a person home and ama 8 no we judge na so am. Not the most dribbler no way to me na 10. We a dribbler. To na we create chances na my need we gina ho. Ni a pistes back on the right, back on the left. We am ya wingers yentiase o football mo no. Na hwan nim go ni share de gina no.
Chamanu to me ya jailing 20 years. You say na ya contract ko fa adom kase na amdi nchiremu pi enso de bema inactive but betway edi 10 years hooray na amdi 10 years celebration nyom nko a na ebetimi a celebrate o monne wo one betway adwuma no munyina na mo kabom na modi 10 years no edi abumanu ti atuni din is your 10 campaign. Yo ya ne Saudi okoswa na obetri ndina twa awo betway zone said the Muhammad betway there I mean ya also there kromu ene ebusi also ma manfo sha se omo eyibi na baby ebusi ya de kodu en still na no omo entimi amount o de odia sika ne bebre nti koswa na efa ya betway app no efetwa bet na afi wonso no birthday osunya ho tefa na bibia no enkonkan enso enfama only 8 years me pacho untimi enisa agree AB sound so has been regulated by Gaming Commission of Ghana terms and condition apply nti ehonsam no eno no fruit echenade kono ibenya bre na Ghana football ne enko ne sen ibenya sa discussions na no ebo eyafidie so se de dwumadie no esia na yakofa adom kase no etimi ade amamye ba ya amunim se obra at one Monday edition ohima beniwa ene team ni na betena se na amo ade dwumadie no enso de abrɛ yakra mu nyinaa nyame adom a yɛbɛhyia adom kaseɛ ɛtoa so